laugh at the start of these because I'm always starting late. I'm very sorry for all of you who are here for the live chat. Sorry, as usual, for starting late. But I think the information that we have today will make it worth it. So I hope you're excited. Today we're going to go over, I'm kind of doing this update just generally for the folks on the internet who are not in the Love Your Liver program. And also this is kind of an update for the Love Your Liver program. Because sunlight and ultraviolet light and using them properly, because they can be very helpful, but they can also cause you problems, is really, really important. And understanding what is going on in the skin, in things like vitamin A toxicity, and things like sunburn, and things like the niacin flush, as I'll go over in the literature, which all look very similar. They just have different time courses. They are all related to both toxicity and detox of vitamin A in your skin layers. So Kelsey gave me some great research to go over with niacin in relationship to skin stuff. Yeah, Joe put up her Twitter thing. So for those of you who are here for the first time or interested in learning more, just know you can find all of my links down in the text box to find me all over the internet. I'm definitely mostly active on Twitter. There's Kelsey Kenny's Etsy store if you want to. When you see the research on topical niacin and the skin, and you fully understand that flush niacin, nicotinic acid, not nicotinamide, not niacinamide, not anything else. When you see what applications of it do to the skin, and you understand that it detoxes vitamin A, and we're going to go over what vitamin A destroys the skin. If you see short-term benefits from vitamin A compounds, that's a drug effect. You're robbing Peter to pay Paul later. And you're going to pay a price for using vitamin A on your skin. So if you're out there using retinol creams, retinoic acid like tretinoin, that they're pushing everywhere nowadays, you're causing more. If you Accutane, how many people here are from Accutane damage? Tons of people here are from Accutane damage. Those things, just so you know, just a little background. Active vitamin A, the stuff that actually does stuff. So for those of you out there who think vitamin A is retinol and retinol is what does stuff, retinol doesn't do a dang thing in the body except poison you. There's no retinol receptors. What they called them is retinoic acid receptors, and they can be stimulated by all sorts of things, not just retinoic acid. But what I want you to understand, when you think that vitamin A is necessary for you to live, you're actually saying the exact same compounds that are in retin A, tretinoin, all-trans retinoic acid, and Accutane, 13-cis-retinoic acid, aka isotretinoin. You're actually saying that those compounds, which are known to be highly toxic, are necessary for you to live. They're not. So let's first, so I don't exactly, I'm going to try to keep this as cogent, as coherent, and progressing through the ideas as possible. It's a huge topic. So we're going to be little all over the place. It's just how it is. Connecting all of these things in a coherent model, like start to finish, can be very difficult because there's so many tangents. So just forgive me. I'm going to do my best, but you'll come out of this with a ton of information. So first, let's go into, and we'll get to the testimonials after the sunlight and the UVB stuff, because we do have some really cool testimonials. So let's go into first this one. So let me get the link for everybody. There's that. So again, to remind people what this is my old website, nutritionrestored.com. And the way you get there, if you want to go search for things that I wrote before, do the blog-forum. If you go there, you'll get to the main homepage of it. This is one of the specific articles here. Okay, just Andy said, I had a detox setback for the past 8 or so months, and sunbed sessions seems to have reduced the rash for 3 or 4 days. Yes, we're going to go over how light, UV light specifically, and sunlight, which is the source of UV light, can help break down or accelerate the detox in your skin. I wouldn't say just, Andy, I don't use the words detox setback at all. That's a term that Grant came up with. And I believe our understanding of what is going on and what could be the causes of it, it's not a detox setback. It's just people who don't understand the full implications of what we're doing to the human body. It's that there's bottlenecks in detox, and that detox uses up more nutrients than normal life. So you can run out of those nutrients, and then you can get bottlenecks. And then some people just push things too hard. Some people, beans or oats or other soluble fibers, just push too much bile dumping, and then they leak into their skin. So while we're here, I'm just going to say, for those of you who are wondering, when we talk about toxic bile and toxic bile theory, and you want more of a background, go to my live streams 53 or 71. So you can get background on toxic bile theory and understand what we're talking about here and how we're going to kind of shift the whole paradigm of medicine over time as people realize that this is likely what's causing all of their diseases. Oh, I was just on Twitter the other day, and Weldon Williford was talking about how this was his statement. He has fixed his celiac disease after 3 years on a low vitamin A diet. He is not sensitive to gluten anymore. I'm assuming he's saying that he had celiac because he was diagnosed celiac. And we do have one other person in the Love Your Liver program. I'm not going to say her name, but she was so sensitive to gluten, she couldn't eat at restaurants because if there was gluten residue on the glasses or something like that, she would have a 3-day, like she'd be laid up for like 3 days, messed up. She is now wanting to test gluten foods. She knows she doesn't react to the small exposures anymore. She's wanting to see if she can actually eat some. So if you thought that celiac was like a life sentence, apparently it's not. It's a vitamin A driven toxicity disease. Autoimmunity is toxicity. If you didn't know that yet, autoimmunity is simply toxicity. It's not your immune system going stupid. It's your body it's the attack of the toxins on your body and your body trying to get rid of them. Okay. So this is my flesh niacin drink for the day. I actually posted my current flesh niacin drink, one of them on the Twitter machine the other day. So let's get into it. Okay. This is an older article of mine. Sun allergy and sun poisoning are signs of poison/vitamin A toxicity and major detox dumping into the system. This was before toxic bile theory. So I was already figuring this out. But as you can see here, if you want to come on my little research forum, all these posts are mine, basically. It was only me talking to the world. But yeah, I've got 533 posts there. So if you like reading my stuff, you may want to go read it. Yeah, just Andy, I know you're quoting Grant. I know, and Grant's a good buddy of mine. He still uses that term. I just use different stuff. So let's go to first thing. Vitamin A in the skin. It is well known that vitamin A causes photosensitivity. What does photosensitivity mean? Sensitivity to light. Skin that is easily damaged by light. Photosensitivity in the eyes means that your eyes are more sensitive to light. So if you go outside and you easily burn, or your eyes are very sensitive to light, those are good indicators that you're probably pretty vitamin A toxic. If your eyes are really sensitive to the blue light of phones and computers, you're also probably very toxic in your eyes with vitamin A. Okay, so it's well known that vitamin A causes photosensitivity. Now, I will add this. There's a guy, I think he's on Twitter, the Really Tan Man, who loves to say that you need tons of vitamin A in your system to tan properly. I'm going to tell you that tanning, the activity of tanning, the more you tan, the more toxic you are with vitamin A. The real tan man says that you have to eat tons of vitamin A to get a tan. Do you see the connection? I'm saying it's not a good thing. Like, it's like you're basically crispy frying your skin. And as you get less toxic in vitamin A, you tan less. You burn less. Remember, most people kind of burn first and then they tan. And they say the burn turns into the tan. Anyway, don't chase a tan. Okay, you don't want to be sickly pale. That's a sign that like your blood's not very strong, but you also don't want to purposely tan. The easier you tan, the more toxic you are. And yes, darker skinned people are going to tan more easily a little bit, but what we see is people tan less as they get less toxic and they become less sensitive to light in both their eyes and their skin. So let's talk about, so what are they doing to try to poison us? They're putting vitamin A in sunscreen. So we know that vitamin A in the body makes you more sensitive to the sun and more easily damaged. And then they put vitamin A in sunscreen. Vitamin A and its derivatives are well known to cause skin irritation and greater skin sensitivity to sunlight, a reaction known as photosensitivity. Okay, so this is from, I believe this is let me get the link. I believe this is the Environmental Working Group. Hello, Kelsey. Nice to have you here. So it is known that UV light, which is in sunlight, which is in UV lamps, which we'll go over today, it breaks down vitamin A, including carotenoids in the skin. It breaks it down. Okay, it's very important for you to understand this. It doesn't. Here's the mistake that people make when they use the term detox. They think that if you say something detoxes something, that it just like poof disappears. It does not. Especially with vitamin A, it goes through multiple steps. It goes from the beta carotene to the retinaldehyde to the retinol, and it can go retinol to retinaldehyde. It goes through alcohol dehydrogenase. It goes through aldehyde dehydrogenase. Goes through the cytochrome P450 system. Generally, as vitamin A moves along the detox pathway, never disappeared. It didn't disappear. It actually became more toxic as vitamin A goes through the detox pathway, also called biotransformation. When things become more toxic, it's getting more toxic for you. This is a very strange thing. People are like, why are we designed like that? I go, I don't know. I am not the creator. So maybe when I get there, I'll ask him. I'll be like, boss, why'd you do this? But I will never know. So let's just see this. It's funny that this link is here. I tried to find this paper all morning. Not all morning, but definitely I was looking for it. So what's the paper? Ultraviolet irradiation of human skin causes functional vitamin A deficiency. Preventable by all trans retinoic acid pre-treatment. Oh, goody. They can give you retin A and prevent your functional vitamin A deficiency. If you haven't been here long enough, vitamin A deficiency doesn't exist. And I show that through the research. I'm going to do a post on Twitter breaking down the original 1925, I don't know if it was mice or rat study of the food that they gave them, and show distinctively that there is they poisoned them with vitamin A, and they also gave them zinc deficiency, which makes everything worse. So, in effect, this is a quote from the paper. In effect, ultraviolet irradiation causes a functional vitamin A deficiency. And for those of you who don't know, if these links didn't work, just put the title of the study in the search engine. It will find it for you. Okay. This was written in 2018, so it's 6 years old. Okay. Some of the links may have broken. So it says it creates a deficiency in the skin. Now, I want to tell you about what is the deficiency in the skin. What do they usually measure? They usually measure retinol. Okay. They measure retinol. So then they say there's a vitamin A deficiency in it. And then they gave a different form of vitamin A to fix it. It's the most mishmash garbage science I've ever heard of, where it just changes forms, but you only need one of them. But we're going to tell you you're deficient in retinol, which isn't the active form, which is the alcohol form, but you need the acid form. But we're never going to talk about the aldehyde form. Lunacy. Anyway, so let's go through what sun poisoning and sun allergy and vitamin A toxicity all look like, okay? So sun poisoning, this was a link from WebMD if it's still there. Oops, I hit the space bar. So I want you to pay attention to these things. Severe sunburn or sun poisoning can cause symptoms such as the following: skin redness and blistering, pain, swelling, headache, fever and chills, nausea, dizziness, dehydration is obvious. Seek immediate medical care for these symptoms. A sunburn, so these are the worst ones. Sunburn that forms blisters, covers a large area, or is very painful. Facial swelling, fever and chills, upset stomach, headache, confusion, or faintness, signs of dehydration. Okay, so let's just go over that real quick. Obviously, something's happening in the skin. Okay, so when we talk about vitamin A detox, it is a process of oxidation. Your body is oxidizing these carotenoid and retinoid compounds, so they move through these different types. Remember how I just told you as vitamin A moves through these different types, it actually becomes more toxic? So if you were to get too much sunlight on too toxic of skin that's storing tons of toxins that is then oxidized and moving into more toxic forms, does that make sense how you can get redness and blistering, pain and tingling, swelling, right? Same things up here. Where was that other list? Where was that other list? I think I may have gone up. Yeah, okay, sorry. So there was those in the skin, and then blisters. So it can get bad enough to blister. Oh, this. Ugh. And then, so we have this, the skin is under attack, right? But as you guys know who have been doing this long enough, as you get less toxic, you don't have these reactions in your skin. So it is something in your skin that is causing you to get sunburned. Because we can remove it from your system and you don't get sunburned and you don't tan, but yet we have the other people saying more vitamin A in your skin causes you to become more sensitive to the sun and to burn and tan more. So Mate said in the chat, he said, I had such a painful sunburn 2 years ago. He drank orange juice every day, high in vitamin A, red as a tomato, huge chills, not being able to warm himself. He was a roast chicken. That's really, when you think of humans who have a tan, just think of roast chicken, like crispy frying the skin on a chicken. That's more like what you're doing to yourself. Okay. Now, sun poisoning symptoms again. We're going to go over this. Sun poisoning, unlike a sunburn, is your skin's allergic reaction to excessive amounts of UV rays. So what they're saying is sun poisoning is more internal. And what do we talk about in toxic bile theory that an excess amount of sun can do in the body, folks? It can cause you to dump a whole bunch of bile. Too much sun will cause you not only to have the impact of it on the oxidation of vitamin A and other toxins in your skin, but it will cause you to dump bile. Now, is this generally, could this be good if you don't dump too much and you can handle it? Yes. Could it be bad if you dump too much and you leak too much and then it's affecting all sorts of other areas of your body? Like, oh, I don't know, your brain in terms of dizziness. It's going into your stomach, causing you nausea. It's causing, do you know that bile is known in the research to cause fever and chills? Headache, it's affecting your brain. Do you know that one of the most classic symptoms of vitamin A toxicity is what's called idiopathic intracranial hypertension? Basically, high blood pressure in your skull. Classic symptom of vitamin A toxicity. What am I telling you you're doing? You're breaking down vitamin A really fast, and it's becoming more toxic in your skin, and you're also sending it into your system. So again, same stuff. Headache, confusion, or faintness. It often manifests in blisters or a sun rash. What else do we have? Hives or rash. Wait, an allergic type of reaction. We talk about allergies and vitamin A here. If you haven't seen my anaphylaxis video here, you should go watch that one. Known as a sun rash. Oh, wait, sensitivity to sunlight on your skin. Gosh. Blisters, dehydration, headache or dizziness. Again, fever or chills, nausea. So we have those established, right? So what are symptoms of vitamin A toxicity? Well-known symptoms of vitamin A toxicity. Let's go over this. I'm not going to open all of these pages. You're welcome to use the link. Symptoms of vitamin A toxicity vary based on whether toxicity is acute or chronic. Headaches and rash. Gosh, where did we just see that? Symptoms of acute vitamin A toxicity include high dose vitamin A all at once or over a short period of time. Is a sunburn done over a short period of time? Drowsiness, irritability, abdominal pain, nausea, vomiting, increased pressure on the brain, like a headache maybe? Symptoms of chronic vitamin A toxicity include blurry vision or other vision changes, swelling of the bones, bone pain, dizziness, nausea and vomiting, sensitivity to sunlight, dry, rough skin. Gosh, does this happen after a sunburn? Itchy or peeling skin. Hey, confusion. Do those look similar? I mean, it looks like a similar list to me. And then let's just go over. So think of what a sunburn is. The symptoms of a sunburn. This is from the World Health Organization. Not that we trust them on much, but what do they say? They love vitamin A. They give vitamin A immunizations like 100,000 to 200,000 units to children. They love this stuff. Skin changes, erythema, redness of the skin, pruritus, this is itching, desquamation, peeling. I mean, can you describe a sunburn any better than redness, itching, and peeling? So I covered that. Now, that's that one. The World Health Organization, if that link doesn't work, you can try searching for it. Here, I'll do a quick search. But like I said, some of these links may be defunct. It would be crazy if the World Health Organization took down that link so you couldn't see the common effects of vitamin A toxicity in the skin. But that's well known that guys who people who eat polar bear liver or sled dog liver or whatever, they turn red, they get all sorts of skin problems, and then they peel like a week or two later. So anyway, sorry that link doesn't work, but that's what it said. So now, I'm going to go over some things on my Twitter. So if you guys don't have Twitter, oh wait, here, let me share it first. There we go. If you don't have Twitter, I'm going to run through this thread. So what I'm going through here is how to use light to... I'm not going to get into vitamin D science here because I think vitamin D science is about on as shaky a ground as vitamin A science, okay? It's an oxidized cholesterol molecule floating around, and we're thinking that this oxidized cholesterol molecule just does everything. I don't know. Here's what I'm going to say. What we have generally found in the research, things that go along with low vitamin D. Well, let me back up. Do I believe that humans need light to be healthy? Yes. Do I think that staying indoors all day under fake lights is not good for you? Yes. Do I necessarily believe that it is through this oxidized cholesterol molecule called vitamin D, which there's like 25 different forms of in your body, starting to sound like vitamin A, isn't it? There's all these different forms floating around. And then we measure the storage form and not supposedly the active form. It's so strange. Why do we measure the alcohol forms and not the active forms? So anyway, what I'm saying is I'm not sure that it is through vitamin D that the health benefits of light are mediated. What I have generally seen is the things that we do to improve people's health in the research also tend to raise vitamin D levels. Do I care that much about the vitamin D level? No. If you have really low vitamin D levels, are you probably unwell or doing things wrong? Yes. Do you know one of the biggest things that is an antagonist to vitamin D in the body? Vitamin A toxicity. Light on the skin, sunlight or ultraviolet light breaks down vitamin A, sends it towards the liver to be gotten rid of. And it also seems to raise vitamin D. Do you see what I'm saying here? We know that vitamin A is a toxin. I'm not so sure about what vitamin E is or vitamin D is or what it does. It's another alcohol. Everybody who's like trying to build up, it's a corticosteroid hormone. I'm like, it's an alcohol. So anyway, vitamin D3, if you did not know, is rat poison. Mouse and rat poison. It is rodenticide. It will kill your dogs if they, send your dogs to the vet for kidney failure, possibly kill your dogs. It could kill you. You should see the MSDS on it if you are taking vitamin D by mouth. If you are trying to eat more vitamin D by mouth, whether it's mushrooms or sardines or taking rat poison pills, go look up Tera D3, TERA-D3, the number, Tera D3 or D-Con. Those are rat poison. The active ingredient is vitamin D3. I help a lot of people by just getting them off this poison. If you're one of those rare people who feels better from vitamin D, it's because it's shutting down your bile production. I have research on that. You're not dumping as much bile. Therefore, you don't leak as much bile into your system. You are kicking the can down the road. It's going to end badly at some point. And then the vitamin D is not going to help, and it's going to probably make you worse, but you're not going to want to quit it. But you realize that it's not good for you and you're stuck. This is how taking poisons to benefit yourself ends. So let's go. So even though I talk about vitamin D, I'm saying I'm just not sure about it. But this is the state of the research. And everything we're going to talk about tends to raise vitamin D. But I don't know that that is the mediating factor. Okay? So first thing you should know. Big Pharma, the pharma cartel, makes all the D3 raw materials. So if you're taking a vitamin D pill, it's made by Big Pharma. D3 is sold as rat poison. Remember that. Fauci, the only supplement Fauci says you should take is D3. The only supplement that Fauci says is worth taking is D3. It was tested as a genocidal tool in South Africa. Yes, it was. So it's toxic enough to people in small enough amounts that they could sneak it in to kill people. They've accidentally put too much vitamin D into milk to fortify it and killed children accidentally. So anyway, there's this whole thread here if you want to go see it. Now, I talked about this already. So first, imagine this. Like, how much money does the pharma cartel make on SSRIs and anti-anxiety meds and all of that stuff? I want you to understand before you start to think that they're saving us from tanning beds. It has been said that all a person needs to do during the winter months, the dreary, cloudy, dark winter months, to maintain their vitamin D level is 8 minutes a week on a tanning bed. This is what I heard from doctors here in the US and like the northern parts. And then a client came to me and said, that's exactly what they say up in Alaska, is 8 minutes a week of tanning beds will maintain good vitamin D levels all winter. Does that sound like you're just baking yourself 8 minutes a week? Doesn't have to be all at once. You could do it in 2 4-minute. Now, okay, so let me back up on this. First of all, folks, if you're really, really toxic, if you're going to do any kind of sunlight or any kind of tanning bed, as you just saw under sun poisoning, right? We talked about how it breaks down vitamin A. It sends it into your system. It increases bile dumping. If you are really, really toxic, or just in general, you should start slowly with this stuff. I'm going to throw it out there. This is not a game. Let me tell you a story of a girl I had who was really toxic, like 13-year-old girl. Her parents got a Sperti sun lamp, and I think they did like 30 seconds on her legs. 30 seconds. Like the Sperti talks about 3 to 5 minutes or maybe longer. Oh, just follow the instructions on the Sperti stuff. Don't quote me on it because I don't have one because I live in Tucson, Arizona. I don't need a sun lamp. Do I go to the tanning beds at my gym maybe once a week? Sometimes, yeah. But think about this. Let's say, especially women, could go to the tanning beds for 3, 5, 8 minutes a week and not be on SSRIs. They'd be less toxic. They'd buy less sunscreen. Do you know that the original studies on tanning beds being bad were funded by L'Oreal, one of the world's biggest sunscreen makers? So the sunscreen makers are telling you that tanning is bad, and then the pharma cartel is happy to jump on and say tanning is bad. If you could fix seasonal affective disorder with light, do you think they're going to let you do that? Now, another thing. Okay, so this is the weird thing. You have to understand this. So I'm not saying to go out and like burn the crap out of yourself with sunlight or UV lamps. Burning is bad. Okay, so can excess sunlight be associated with cancer? Why not? It's not that, so this, think of it as you've got this toxin in your skin and the sunlight is burning it, baking it, making it into worse compounds. And if you kept doing this all the time, let's say you eat like the really tan man wants you to, and you eat vitamin A all day long, every day, you're getting your egg yolks and you're getting your liver and you're getting your sweet potatoes and you're getting all this garbage, toxic garbage, and you're accumulating toxins in your skin every day, and you keep baking them all the time so that you have a nice crispy fried brown chicken skin. Could that cause problems? Well, what is cancer? Cancer is accumulated toxicity. So can you get skin cancer without the sun at all? Yes, they see that in areas of people where they've always got shirts on when they're outside. People get skin cancer where their skin is not exposed to the sun. Skin cancer is toxicity. Could constantly putting in more toxins and then baking them in cause you more problems? Yes. We didn't go over the environmental working group thing where they did UV light on rats. They shaved the rats in an area and they gave some of them sunscreen and some of them sunscreen with vitamin A in it. And you need to know that whatever you put on your skin, you're going to absorb. So all the toxins in that sunscreen you absorb and the vitamin A you absorb, especially right into that skin area. You want to know what happened to the mice who got the vitamin A sunscreen? They got more tumors, they got the tumors faster, and they got bigger tumors. So do you see, so you need to understand this. Could both sides be right? Like, this is going to blow your mind here. Could, in a certain way, do I recommend sunscreen? No, I cover my skin with clothing. I'm not going to put poison on my skin. But you have to understand this so you can see how they've duped you. So we talk about vitamin A as being toxic. We talk about how vitamin A increases skin cancer. So getting vitamin A out of your skin is good in helping your skin health. So does it make sense that if you're vitamin A toxic, you could have skin cancer show up regardless? It could show up on areas that never see the sun, which it happens all the time. How are people up in the northern climates getting skin cancer? Because they do. And they get it in places that are never out in the sun. So it must be something else other than the sun, right? But could also constantly baking toxic stuff in your skin, making it more toxic effectively, cause you problems? Yes. Okay, but now think about this. Let's say you put sunscreen on your skin and it protects you from the crispy frying of the vitamin A in your skin. Could that help enough that they could figure out how to have research to show you that that's quote unquote good for you? And maybe they see less cancer from that sometimes. Yes, so you have to understand that it's the poison in your skin that is the problem. And as we get into niacin later, the papers that Kelsey sent me, you're going to see that we know that niacin helps detox vitamin A by running aldehyde dehydrogenase, and you'll see that niacin helps the skin when it's exposed to UV light and sunlight. This all fits together. Oh, and vitamin D slows down ALDH. So vitamin D slows down your detox. So anyway, yeah, they say sunlight is bad and tanning lights are bad. They say these are good. Take your rat poison pills and your toxic sunscreens. That's what they want you to do. This is a fun little graph. Melanoma incidence rates going up. Sales of SPF cosmetics going up. While the deaths from melanoma basically stayed the same. This is how much they're diagnosing it. That doesn't mean people die from it necessarily. So anyway, but this is from the tanningguru.com. We're going to go over that. Here, I'll put this link in there. And so again, for what you guys are saying, do I advocate sunscreen? No, I don't use it. Wear hats. Wear long sleeve cotton shirts. As you get less toxic, you won't burn as much, and you can choose what you want to do. The reality is, like, when you guys look at, like, let's say native tribes and stuff like that, and you look at the older people in it, they're wrinkled and you can tell they're old, right? It is quite likely that the sun increases the speed of aging. Okay, it's oxidizing things. When you look at things that oxidize outside, they're aged. They look aged, right? So it's possible that too much sun is not very good if you want to stay young looking. That doesn't mean avoid it, but it also means don't be toxic in your skin and be smart about it. So all these things can be true. Oh, in this thread, this is my, I have a thread where I go over like ultraviolet light and testosterone. So if you wanted to know, like, we know that UV light, sunlight breaks down testosterone. We know that UV light, that when they talk about the study that increased testosterone from light, they're talking about UV light. And this is the whole basis of like the ball tanning, the sun, getting sun on your balls, because it works. If sunlight breaks down vitamin A, and I say vitamin A destroys your testosterone, does it make sense that getting sun on the parts of the male anatomy that make testosterone would result in increased testosterone? A giant duh follows. Okay, so let's go over this. How to know if you're doing too much sunlight or ultraviolet light. We are not in the business of more is better. More is better is for not intelligent people. Okay? You did too much light. I don't care what type. If you feel terrible in the half hour, hours after sun or ultraviolet light exposure, those of you who are really toxic, like, just how terrible you feel after too much sun. You know how terrible you can feel. I used to feel just awful after I'd go and there was one day where I was burning the office records I didn't have to keep anymore. I didn't want to have to pay somebody to shred them. So we had a fire pit in the backyard, and I was just burning boxes of old client records and old office stuff that we didn't have to keep anymore. So I was out in the sun, and I was out next to I had two fires running. I felt so terrible after that. Because what happens? Heat dumps bile, sunlight dumps bile. So those of you they call it sun poisoning, right? They just called it sun poisoning. What it is it's your toxic bile dumping, and it's you breaking down tons of vitamin A and turning it into worse compounds. So if you go out in the sun and you have an idea of how hot it is, how much skin you're exposing to the sun, like, think of all the variables, and you feel terrible after that. Okay, next time, as you see here, do less. I love Forgetting Sarah Marshall as a movie. It's one of my favorites. But yeah, you're doing too much. Do less. Okay? Next, if you are getting burned in your skin, if you're burning or getting pink, anything more than a pink that goes away very quickly when you go back inside, you're probably doing too much. Okay? And if you notice negative skin changes, okay? I have a link here to negative skin changes from sunlight. or UV light. Hopefully it still works. But if you're getting, so don't just hear me now and say, I'm just going to do tons of sunlight and UV light and I'm just going to burn all this vitamin A out of me. No, it's not going to end well. Don't do that. Titrate it, adjust it to how you tolerate it. Okay? If you're burning the vitamin A in your skin and seeing negative skin changes, you're causing problems. And it will just take longer for the body to clear out that crispy fried damage. Okay? So try to avoid negative skin changes. Try to avoid burning. Don't do things to avoid burning. Like don't use sunscreen to avoid burning. Just don't do that much. And then if you feel really bad after it, you did too much. Okay? So next, everybody will be like, do you need the vitamin A app on your phones or the vitamin D app on your phone so you know which hours you can go out and it's going to be better? No, just forget about that light. Just look at it this way. Again, we're not talking about vitamin D as the be all end all of are you getting enough light? Okay. Midday sun is the strongest. Sure. It's the strongest. Oh, sorry. I forgot to add one more thing here. This is all true for tanning beds, for Spertis, for ultraviolet lamps, Reptile lamps, any of this stuff. This is all true for any type of light you're doing. This is even true for red light. Like if you feel terrible, like let's say you do a big red light session and you feel terrible after it, you probably dumped too much bile. I've been over that in other episodes. Red light does increase your detox. It does increase ALDH. It doesn't do the same thing as UV light or sunlight. Just these different lights are different for a reason. So midday sun is the strongest in terms of quote unquote making vitamin D. It's also the strongest in tending to burn you. So you better be more careful with that. Now, morning and late afternoon sun is still useful. If you can go out in the morning for 2 hours and not burn, but you can't go out in the midday sun because you would burn and you feel terrible, what do you think is a better choice for you? Go out in the morning. It's pretty simple. You don't have to be like, well, my vitamin D app said I can't go outside because it's not going to make vitamin D. Forget that. Get light. Okay? And then I said, stay legal with your skin exposure. No need to show everybody all the goods. You know, no need to go to jail over getting sun. I do not necessarily believe that there's that huge a benefit to, let's say, sunning your starfish or sunning the huevos. So there's not that much of a benefit. You can get way more, you know, just get outside, get the sun. Okay. Next, if you can't get to sunlight, I don't care the reason. You know, you just work inside all day. You're like, I'm never going to get outside. Or you're in the Pacific Northwest and there's just no sun for 6 months of the year. You got to find another option. Well, it depends. If you're super toxic, well, let me give some of you the out here. If you are super toxic, like that girl, where 30 seconds of a Sperti lamp caused her to have like a days-long negative reaction. Yeah, and I don't make this stuff up. Like those of you out there who are really toxic, you know what I'm talking about. She was messed up for like 3 days from 30 seconds of a UV lamp. If you can't do it yet, don't worry about it. You may not be able to do it yet. You may be so sick you have trouble exercising. As you get better, then you can start walking. Then you can walk further, and then you can maybe get into other exercise. So same thing with light. You can start with none if you're too toxic. If you know that like any amount is bad for you, don't do it. And then as you get better, then you could try doing a little bit. Then you could try doing a little more, and then you can increase that. Okay? So there's 3 main options to ultraviolet light. So if you come and you ask me, is a seasonal affective disorder lamp the same? No, it's not the same. That's like the blue light to help people wake up and to be more cheery during the wintertime. But you already see they have seasonal affective disorder lamps. Light helps people's mood. Light helps people's mood. There's no UV in seasonal affective disorder lamps, but it helps people's mood. So what are the options you have in terms of, so like red light, can red light help all sorts of things? Yes. Might it help your mood? Yes. Is it gonna do the vitamin A oxidation thing? No. Is it gonna help increase your vitamin D? Nothing other than UVB is going to increase your vitamin D production. UVA is what really oxidizes the vitamin A. They do kind of different things. You're going to do, depending upon which tanning bed or Sperti lamp or whatever you get, you're going to be doing both. Okay, so the three main options: tanning bed, UVB lamps, or Reptile UV bulbs. Okay. Tanning beds. Like I said, eight minutes a week does it for just about everybody. Now, if you can't do that, then just do what you can. If you decide to do tanning beds, like, is it probably better to go outside? Yes, go outside. You know, if you watch screens all day, look at things far away, look at things, different distances, exercise your eyes. Get outside. It's better to go outside. I'm not advocating tanning beds over going outside. Sometimes I barely have time to get outside, so I have a gym membership where they have a tanning bed, and I'll do 5 minutes maybe once a week. Okay, I still get outside. But 8 minutes a week is like, if you were like, well, I just want to know the minimum, the best, the minimal effective dose for vitamin D production seems to be 8 minutes a week. If you're really toxic, you may not be able to handle that much. Okay? Some beds are only UVA. So you do want to make sure, because UVA is what does, funny thing, UVA is what does the tanning, and UVA is what oxidizes vitamin A. So then we have bulbs or lamps that put out UVB. Sperti is one of the biggest names out there. It's very easily accessible. Some of them are discussed in this article from the vitamindwiki.com. Now, let me just go show you guys something. Joe, give me 1 second to get to find the comparison chart. Wait. Okay, let me share this tab. Okay, so Joe, you can show this now. Okay. Psoriasis sun lamp. I'm not going to talk about this. This is only UVB. If you want to do the psoriasis sun lamp, you need a prescription, and it's only UVB. We're going to talk here about the Fiji sun tanning lamp, and we're going to talk about the Sperti vitamin D lamp. Now, I do have Joe, let me give you, if you guys wanted to go check out the Sperti. Oh yeah, that's where it was. So if you guys were thinking of getting one, if you wanted to click on my affiliate link below, it's an affiliate link. I get a little chunk. Full transparency. So let's go back to this. UVA to UVB ratio. UVA for the tanning lamp, right? It's going to have more UVA. UVA is 75%. UVB is 25%. Okay, this is the one that does tanning. It's got more UVA and less UVB. So then if you look at the vitamin D lamp, UVA to UVB, 20% UVA, 80% UVB. So both of the lamps have both UVA and UVB. They're just different ratios. Okay? They both have it. So those that some people out there are wondering which did they get the right one? Is the one they got okay? I think the sun tanning lamp, from what I've heard from Jim Stevenson, is more like the sun, and the vitamin D lamp is a much narrower band of UVB. So that is that. Like I said, the link will be down in the info below this, and then I just posted the link in there if you're interested in it in the chat. So, okay, how much do I do, Dr. Smith? Whatever they say, start with like 10 to 20% of it, and then follow the instructions, and then don't overdo it. This is how we do things. Like if you're super duper toxic and somebody else isn't, are the recommendations the same? No. Am I going to give you some blanket recommendation so you can go out if you're like a super sensitive person who's super impatient and you want to get better and you overdo it and you kick your own ass and then you try to blame me? No, I'm not going to let you do that. You start slow. The more toxic you are, the more health conditions you have, the longer you've been sick, the more toxic you are, and the more slow you need to go. You may be chomping at the bit to get better, and you're willing to do whatever it takes. And I'm going to tell you, if you start, you're already here because you're unwell. And if you want to kick your own ass with this stuff and make yourself feel worse for a while, I mean, that's up to you. I'm telling you how not to do it. Pretty much everybody in the chat who's been in this game a while has overdone it, and they understand what I'm saying. So if you're new here and you think you're going to somehow avoid all of it, good luck. Okay, so we're back on this. Joe thinks he thinks I misspoke saying sunlight drives testosterone down. No, sunlight and UVB light drives testosterone up. So if I misspoke, sorry. I misspoke. The Reptile bulb. This is the lowest cost option. They do put, so this is like the sun lamp for a reptile. Okay? They put off heat. They're a heat lamp as well. So you put it too close to yourself, or you bump into it, or your kids bump into it, or whatever, it's hot. It will burn you. Don't touch it. Maybe get a little cage around the front of it if you need to keep people from touching it. It is also the weakest option, and it requires long exposures. It's made to put on reptiles like basically all day long. So if that tells you how not intense it is in terms of ultraviolet exposure, it's made for all day exposure, basically. This was Megan's. Megan's a big fan of the Love Your Liver program. Megan at eatbeautiful.net. She wrote directions on how to use it at that link. So here's some stuff on UVA and UVB. Okay. UVA oxidizes, also known as moves it along the detox pathway, vitamin A. UVB makes vitamin D. So if you want both to happen, you need both. Like I said earlier, there are some tanning beds that do not make any UVB. You try to ask what you're going to have to do. Like you try to ask, let's say I'm just thinking, you try to ask the like sorority girl working at the tanning shop whether their beds put out all UVA or it's UVA, UVB, what's the percentage? She's probably going to giggle and laugh and have no freaking idea what you're talking about. And that could be, some like Ken type bro at a tanning place too. There's no limit to stupidity by gender. So UVA, UVB. There, like you saw before, the psoriasis lamp was all UVB. They make tanning beds that are all UVA. Most things are mixed. It is up to you to figure out what you want to get If somebody was really, really sensitive to burning, then they might want to get, let's say, that vitamin D lamp, which has more UVB and less UVA. If somebody wanted a little more tanning or a little bit more like sunlight because they're more like, naturalistic in their thinking, then that would be the sun tanning lamp from Fiji. Okay. But don't ask me brands and is this okay? And no, do the research yourself. I got bigger things to work on. Okay. So that's basically that. Oh, Christina says Jim Stevenson doesn't seem to think, based on his research, that using a D light in winter to get or keep your level up is necessary. Listen to his interviews here on YouTube. I'm not going to listen to his interviews. I know Jim a little bit. He still thinks vitamin A is absolutely essential and necessary, and he when I look at him, it looks like his health is reflecting the fact that he thinks vitamin A is necessary and helpful, and it's sad. I wish it wasn't true. I tried to help him. I wrote even giant articles to help him understand that vitamin A was toxic. He completely disregarded them. It's too bad. So there's that. Now, so this was just, so if you want information on tanning, this is the guy. Yes, Tao, I will get to the super chat when I'm done with the topic of the day. So you want to read about tanning and stuff like that, and the psyop around tanning beds and all that stuff? This guy puts out a lot of good stuff. I put several of his links in the chat. I put in his How to Tan article, I think. Let's see. Yeah, I already did this one. Now, here's some of the other links from another. I'm not going to go through these, but this is vitamin D from low-cost UVB lamps. Why is it not? Hello? Why is this taking so long to load? Is this page gone? Well, if somebody can find this vitamindwiki.com, the vitamin D from low-cost UV lamps, I put that link in the chat. If you can find the one that works, that'd be great. But this, either their site is down or it's not working. This was another article by toxinless.com. My guess is this person still thinks that vitamin A is necessary. They did this. So I want to see experiments that failed to raise his levels. He did a Reptile light. 30 minutes. Not enough. Oh, sorry. I lost the screen share. Sorry. Let me go fix that. Screen. I got to not close Windows. Okay, here we go. Did I put this one in there? Okay. So I want you to pay attention here. You know how I just told you that Reptile bulbs, they put them on them all day long? Experiments that failed to raise his levels. 30 minutes daily with a single bulb on bare skin from an 18-inch distance. 2.5 hours daily with a single bulb on bare skin from a 10 to 12-inch distance. Hour and a half with 3 bulbs and reflective fixtures on bare skin from a 12-inch distance. Now, if you're going to set up Reptile bulbs, you should probably, if you work from home or whatever, if you're probably going to need to just set them up and just leave them on. They're really bright too. But also, let me find it. Safety issues. Used UV safety glasses. He applied Solban beforehand in hopes of minimizing skin damage. I used my red light setup at the same time in hopes of it providing a protective effect. Now, the tanning guru talks about they actually make a tan. There's a tanning bed or more than one now that has red light along with the UV bulbs. Okay. And again here, would SAD lamps have helped? Seasonal affective disorder lamps, blue light lamps. They're legally required to have no UV output. Okay. Seasonal affective disorder lamps, SAD lamps, blue light lamps do not make UV. But Solban, I thought this was really interesting. I went and I looked up what it was. Where is it? Oh, here it is. From the Ray Peat Forum of all places. Liquid aspirin, caffeine, and niacinamide mix. So he didn't get the effect he wanted. And he's putting in the toxic, the what do I want to say? Not the toxic form of niacin, but the waste form of niacin that has to be fixed. Don't use niacinamide. Don't use nicotinamide. This is garbage. Garbage. It's not good for you. It will end poorly. Caffeine, pesticide. We're going to put plant pesticide in there. And then aspirin, pharma cartel garbage. Wait, you didn't get the results you wanted and you put this all over your skin. I'm shocked. This is my shocked face. So, yeah. Oh, sorry, I didn't share the tab. Here it is. Sorry about that, Joe. Here's the link for the Solban that he's pointing to. Let's see if it even comes up. Oh gosh. This I don't want to promote that site at all. That's, oh my gosh. You buy stuff from there, that's a disaster. Oh man. Anyway, here it is. Liquid aspirin, caffeine, niacinamide mix. Don't do it. But he's doing it to protect his skin, and then he's not getting the effect that he wanted. Shocking. So now, Kelsey, who is in the chat right now, and yes, Kelsey, if you want to, or if somebody else wants to, feel free to post the podcast that you were on, what was it, yesterday? With Thor Torrenson. Kelsey was on a podcast yesterday, you guys. She did awesome. And yeah, hopefully somebody will post the link there so you guys can all go watch it. But Kelsey got me a bunch of studies that she already had on the skin and nicotinic acid, aka flush niacin. So when you hear me talk about flush niacin, nicotinic acid, they are the same thing. That is all we are talking about. We're not talking about niacinamide. We're not talking about nicotinamide. We're not talking about NMN. We're not talking about nicotinamide riboside. We're not talking about anything else. Nicotinic acid, aka flush niacin, works the best. It's the safest and it's the cheapest. So let's go into the studies that Kelsey got me. So NAD, so let's just go over this real quick. NAD plus, this is the energy needed to run something like 400 different enzyme pathways in your body. And one of the most important ones that it's the gasoline to run it. So think about it this way. There's the gasoline to run it, to run ALDH, aldehyde dehydrogenase, one of the most important detox enzymes in your body. Like to drive your car, you need gasoline, right? Obviously. But you also need the parts of the engine to be right. And if you're missing parts of the engine, you're not going to drive well either. So there's like the parts of the engine, then there's the gasoline. The parts of the engine that we deal with in the Love Your Liver program especially is selenium and molybdenum. You need selenium and molybdenum to run ALDH. It is quite likely that folate is involved in that, but I do tend to think that most people can get nearly all of their folate needs from food, especially beans and meat. And then what else do we do in this program? We don't put in extra aldehydes. We try to minimize shoving aldehydes into your cake hole so then your body doesn't have to detox them. Right? Put in less toxins, give the detox system what it needs to run properly. This is how we fix things. Fix the toxicities by putting less in. Fix the deficiencies so that the body can run properly. This should not be like a crazy concept. The problem is people are thinking toxins are nutrients, like vitamin A. So remember, we talked about vitamin A toxicity and what it does to the skin. And I'm telling you that nicotinic acid is the gasoline to run ALDH by making NAD. So it helps with detoxing vitamin A. So what we should see, if our theory is correct, is we should see that niacin helps the skin. Nicotinic acid, flush niacin, helps the skin because it's anti-vitamin A. Okay? Supplementation of nicotinic acid and its derivatives upregulates cellular NAD, so you make more NAD for your detox system level rather than nicotinamide derivatives. Niacinamide didn't do it. In cultured, normal, human epidermal, that's skin keratinocytes. Those are the keratin making cells, okay? Nicotinamide dinucleotide, NAD+, is an important component for various biological processes in mammalian cells, such as energy production, redox state maintenance, and gene regulation. I'm going to run through these pretty quick. In this study, we asked which precursor is suitable for application against human skin. Suitable for application against human skin keratinocytes. That sounds weird. That sounds like they're at war with them. Anyway, as a result, nicotinic acid supplementation 1.3-fold upregulated intracellular NAD plus levels significantly, even with a nicotinamide or niacinamide phosphororibosyltransferase inhibitor, FK866, and its metabolites nicotinic acid mononucleotide, that's NMN, also increased NAD plus level by 1.5-fold with a 100 micromole application. I'm guessing they said that because this was a really high concentration. They're saying, yes, it did more, but I think they're saying it took a really high concentration. I'm assuming that that's what that meant because they stopped talking about the NMN right after this. Surprisingly, this is nicotinamide, niacinamide, what you just saw in that Sol ban. NAM and its derivatives could not upregulate cellular NAD levels in keratinocytes. It didn't work at all. The nicotinic acid supplementation also upregulated mitochondrial superoxide dismutase 2, which indicates the effect for mitochondria. Nicotinic acid also alleviated rotenone-induced mitochondrial RO. This is reactive oxygen species accumulation. These results suggest that nicotinic acid can be used for topical application for skin rejuvenation. Now, I want you to pay attention to this because they just said nicotinic acid could be used. If you'd like products that have nicotinic acid in it and buffered nicotinic acid or nicotinate or niacinate products, Kelsey's store has tons of that stuff. She has zinc nicotinate salves. She has the Nia spray. She has all sorts of stuff. And there are recipes for this if you're a do-it-yourselfer in the Love Your Liver program. So when you start to see skin stuff, the funny thing you're going to see here is they're going to talk about, they know that nicotinic acid helps or NAD helps, and they're going to be like, but we're going to look for genetic medications that can affect genetics or medications that can affect the receptors, and they just don't even give. They're like, the nicotinic acid works, but they're going to do anything they can not to use nicotinic acid. Watch where this goes. Effects of niacin restriction on sirtuin and PARP responses to photo damage in human skin. What do you guess is going to happen when they take away niacin? And there's photo damage. Light damage. Did I mark this? I thought I did. Thought I did. Let me see. No, guess not. Get out of here. Okay. Oh, did I do this? Here, let me do this link. Niacin, so let me tell you. So pellagra, niacin deficiency, Remember, niacin is not a B vitamin. It's an amino acid. It's a derivative of tryptophan, the amino acid. It's an amino acid derivative of tryptophan. It's not a B vitamin. Get that out of your head. The B vitamin is the B vitamin complex and all that's nonsense. Let's go. Niacin restriction, which decreases NAD+, the sirtuin substrate. So it's needed for sirtuins. Resulted in an increase in acetylated proteins. I'm guessing they're mentioning that because it's not good. This is one reason why we don't take N-acetylcysteine and throw a bunch of acetyl groups into the body. Upregulation of SIRTs 2 and 4. Increased inherent DNA damage. That's bad. Alterations in SIRT responses to photo damage. That's probably bad. Abrogation, I believe that's removal of PARP activation following photo damage, and increased sensitivity to photo damage. That is completely reversed by repleting niacin. Completely reversed by repleting niacin. Nicotinic acid, not nicotinamide, not niacinamide. So, sorry. One of the things that is common to pellagra, niacin deficiency, is skin rashes and photosensitivity, light sensitivity. What does vitamin A toxicity cause? Skin rashes and photosensitivity. So it's kind of a chicken or the egg. Did the niacin deficiency cause the body to become more vitamin A toxic, or did the vitamin A toxicity deplete the niacin? Does it matter when we address both? Right? NAD in skin, therapeutic approaches for niacin. Niacin deficiency in humans. Wait, let me get this. Oh, sorry. I got to share the tab. Sorry, Joe, I'm on it. Let me get the link for everybody. Niacin deficiency in humans, which leads to low NAD status, causes sun sensitivity in skin, indicative of deficiencies in responding to ultraviolet damage. Animal models of niacin deficiency demonstrate genomic instability and increased cancer development in sensitive tissues, including skin. Cell culture models of niacin deficiency have allowed the identification of NAD-dependent signaling events critical in early skin carcinogenesis, so skin cancer. This is bad. This is not good. Niacin deficiency is very bad. Vitamin A toxicity is very bad. They go right together. Oh, we kind of went over this one already. This was the paper we already went over. Niacin deficient keratinocytes are more sensitive to photo damage, as both poly-ADP ribose polymerases and sirtuins are inhibited by the unavailability of their substrate, NAD. So you need NAD to run these things, leading to unrepaired DNA damage upon photo damage and a subsequent increase in cell death. Like, I don't know, would that be like peeling skin kind of thing? Like where your skin is basically just sloughing off, it's dead. Furthermore, the identification of this is where it gets funny. Furthermore, the identification of the nicotinic acid receptor in human skin keratinocytes provides a further link to niacin's role as a potential skin cancer prevention agent and suggests the nicotinic acid receptor as a potential target for skin cancer prevention pharma cartel agents. The new roles for niacin as a modulator of differentiation and photoimmune suppression and niacin status as a critical resistance factor for UV damaged skin cells are reviewed here. Like, why can't they just why do they need skin cancer prevention agents when they could just give nicotinic acid to stimulate the nicotinic acid receptor? Oh, because the pharma cartel makes no money on it. And it would make people healthier and not sicker. GPR 109A and GPR 109B, we're going to go over those a little bit here. Those are the niacin receptors. The funny thing that also stimulates these niacin receptors is short-chain fatty acids, which come from the digestion of soluble fiber by your gut bacteria, which we talk a lot about here. What a coincidence. Let's see. Oh, it's not this. I didn't want this one. Let's go into this one. Okay. Oh, is that link too long? Well, you guys are going to have to search for this one yourselves. Actually, let me open this up. Let me reopen the close tab. Okay, so hopefully this link will fit. Yeah. So what I did, folks, this is a write-up. B vitamin. So of course they're going to call niacin. Oh, and for those of you who want to know, fortified flour is niacinamide, nicotinamide. That's what they put in fortified flour. That's what's in your multis. That's what's in your B complexes. That's what's in your magical kitchen sink ingredient, green drinks or protein powders or whatever. It's niacinamide, aka nicotinamide. Don't want it. Don't eat it. It's not just all niacin. And we go over this in the articles in the Love Your Liver program, which were provided to us so graciously by Miss Kelsey Kenny. So this is the article. What I did was I clicked on this link, British Journal of Nutrition, and it opened up this other tab, this one. But this link is too big for me to put in the chat, in the YouTube chat. So high dietary niacin intake is associated with decreased chromosome translocation frequency in airline pilots. So this is good. Experimental studies suggest that niacin may protect against DNA damage induced by ionizing radiation. They talk about all these other ones, but then we go down here and they looked at all of them. Our data suggests that a high intake of niacin from food or a diet in whole grains may protect against cumulative DNA damage in ionizing radiation exposed persons. They have here low in red and processed meat. I don't include that crap because they leave pork in there. And conventional meat is not good for you. So when they're like low in, they're saying too much red and processed meat. Well, what's mostly processed meat? It's how many times is it pork? And they will include pork in red meat. They just group it all as meat. The white meat they might call chicken or turkey. But yeah, I don't worry about the meat thing here because they include pork, and pork is trash. You want to eat pork? Go ahead. If you eat pork and you wonder why you're not getting better or why you're still angry like some people on Twitter, it's because you're still eating pork. People be like, let me go find this. For the doubters and the haters, let's do lard factor. I'll put it up in a second, Joe. Let me get just going to go over this real quick. People will say there's no vitamin A in pork. Guess what I'm about to show. I want you to see the titles of all of these papers. First of all, dietary high-fat lard intake induces thyroid dysfunction. Okay, that's not good. The impact of high-fat diets on physiological changes in euthyroid, normal thyroid, and thyroid-altered rats. They gave them 25% of their diet as lard, and they messed up their thyroid. Differential effects of high-fat diet rich in lard oil or soybean oil. Reducing diet. So I want you to see this. I'm not a fan of soy oil. I don't eat soy. But soy was better than lard. Reducing diet fat or replacing lard oil with soybean oil in a high-fat diet alleviates obesity-related inflammation and insulin resistance. They gave them soy oil and they got better than they did on the lard. Pig fat is toxic. And guess why it's toxic? Well, we'll get to that. Maternal high-fat diet induces obesity and adrenal and thyroid dysfunction in male rat offspring at weaning. They were fed a high-fat diet, 29% fat as lard. Look at these problems. Short-term consequences such as increased adrenal, medullary, and thyroid function. So increase is not good here. Higher adiposity, fatter, hyperleptinemia, and hyperglycemia in the offspring. They're birthing diabetic kids. High-fat diets are not where it's at, folks. And pork fat as part of your high-fat diet is really not good. But why is that? There are some people out in Facebook groups and other places on the internet who say that pork has no vitamin A in it. And this is why we have to use our brains and we have to look at the research that is real. Let's just read the titles of these. An unknown factor with vitamin A activity distilled from lard. Relation of vitamin A and, quote, lard factor to disease caused by rancid oxidized lard. Studies in vitamin A. 26. The vitamin A replacing effect of lard. Nature of the vitamin A-like factor in lard. Vitamin A activity of lard. Identification of the so-called lard factor as vitamin A. In more recent times, lard factor has been distinctly regarded as a synonym, means the same thing as retinol. Lard factor is retinol. So this is from the NIH PubChem Open Chemistry Database. Synonyms for retinol, lard factor. Oh, I'm not going to play the Pulp Fiction Pigs Are Filthy Animals clip, but anyway, you get it. So anybody out there who's like, pig has no vitamin A in it, you're wrong. And no, if you want to eat low-fat pork, lean pork, no, I still think it's garbage food. You can do whatever you want. Pig's a filthy animal. I don't eat filthy animals. So, let's go into this one now. Metabolism of nicotinic acid in children with scalds and burns. Wow, Sam says that, the Facebook group doesn't like him because you posted a podcast with me on it and they removed it. Yeah, they're really little butthurt. They're very butthurt. They're very angry. They still eat vitamin A, most of them, through eating too many eggs, although their little leader has now reduced his egg recommendation. Gosh, I wonder what's slowly occurring to him. You know what happened to Saladino? Saladino used to push eating liver all the time, and now Saladino's down to like a little chunk per week. And then the egg cell leader over in the Facebook group, you started getting up to about 6 eggs a day. It was his recommendation. And now his recent recommendation was 1 to 4. As I joke on Twitter, it's like a siege. All I have to do is wait. They will destroy themselves from the inside out. All I have to do is wait. I know I'm right. They think I'm wrong. They broke off. They think you need choline, which your body can make. You know, your body can make choline. Gosh, if you were more toxic, do you think you might not make it? But you need choline to store vitamin A. And higher levels of choline in the blood of people in my eggs thread on Twitter has been shown to be correlated directly with the number of eggs consumed. And the higher level of choline in the blood was associated with earlier death. Oops. Eat your eggs. That was a joke. If you're out there and you think I'm wrong on eggs, feel free to double or triple down. I always love, if you want to prove me wrong, go and eat tons of vitamin A. Go ahead. Come back in 3 years. Tell me how it worked out. I'll be here with a smile on my face. And you can apologize. That's what'll happen. So this paper, metabolism of nicotinic acid in children with burns and scalds. The excretions of 2 metabolites of nicotinic acid, N1-methyl-nicotinamide. So nicotinamide is a metabolite of nicotinic acid. You don't want to put in nicotinamide. It's like, what does Kelsey call it? The recycling pathway. You don't want it. You don't put more of it in. And N1-methyl-2-pyridone 5-carboxamide have been measured at varying times after injury in a group of 27 burned or scalded children. Compared with control patients, the excretions of both of these metabolites was significantly raised after injury, which suggests that utilization of nicotinic acid is increased. Yeah, Joe, this is the same one. Nicotinic acid helps. So when you are under stress, like a burn or a scald, and you get hurt and you're in pain or you're in stress from anything else, you will dump bile. Bile contains toxicity. Bile contains vitamin A. If you leak it into your blood, you're going to start using up your nicotinic acid to detox it. And then you start seeing more excretions of products that are probably coming about because of the interaction of the toxin and the detoxer. And what do we see with nicotinic acid and skin stuff? It helps it a lot. Oh, and like eczema and psoriasis skin have been shown to have more vitamin A in them. I think I went over that in the eczema episode where they caused a chemical eczema on the rats. And then they saw that there was more vitamin A in that skin. And then we had the research where they went off vitamin A and the eczema and the psoriasis gets better. So bad things collect in damaged areas. Continuing, almost done. A randomized controlled trial with a medical device containing sodium hyaluronate. This is hyaluronic related to hyaluronic acid and nicotinic acid to increase the efficacy of ultraviolet phototherapy in psoriasis. So there are treatments for psoriasis. Okay, so if you haven't seen my whole psoriasis episode, the eczema and psoriasis and all that stuff, they can treat psoriasis with a UVB lamp. Okay. What do we talk about it breaking down? What does that help with? That helps move the whole detox process of vitamin A in the skin. What does nicotinic acid do? It's the gasoline for the detox process. I do not know what hyaluronate does in this or hyaluronic acid. I don't know how that figures in. We do have some hyaluronic acid in our Nutrition Detective Magnesium Lotion. And I know I've been hearing some people asking about hyaluronic acid, and there's some new research with, that some people are worried that it might cause cancer because they're seeing like some of these. I think what I heard, I'm not going to go look into this right now, but what I heard was that they were thinking that especially these lip fillers full of hyaluronic acid were causing people, particularly women, to develop cancer later. Well, here's something to know. If they make an injectable product, the pharma cartel, is it ever just that one ingredient? Is it ever? You probably look at the hyaluronic acid filler injection or whatever it is, and there's probably 50 ingredients. And then they're going to try to look at the one that is like naturally occurring in the system. Probably not that. So, what happened here? So this photogel, so they're saying the dry and scaly skin decreases the efficacy of the light therapy. Okay. Novel preparation with sodium hyaluronate and nicotinic acid. What did it do? The sides of the body to which UV photogel was applied prior to the UVB phototherapy had significantly lower median LPSI. So what is, I'll just go over LPSI. LPSI, where was it? Here it is. Local psoriasis severity index. That's how bad the psoriasis is. So just when you see LPSI, higher would be worse, lower would be better. Okay. The application of UV photogel prior to sunbathing, they actually did real sun in this, also led to a significant decrease in LPSI score. So we saw photogel decreased the LPSI score. That's good. On the same person. So the same person, they did a treated side and a non-treated side. It, prior to sunbathing, also led to a significant decrease. There was a significant reduction in the LPSI, the psoriasis, at the final visit compared to their baseline, compared to the beginning. Use of the preparation was not accompanied by considerable adverse effects, and the patients found it cosmetically acceptable. Application of UV photogel prior to sunbathing was well tolerated by the patients, and the cosmetic acceptability was also good. You think you're ever going to hear about this very much? Nah. I mean, using light and nutrients like nicotinic acid? No, you're not going to hear about it. So let's go to the last one, and then we'll get into the testimonials. Nicotinic acid receptor abnormalities in human skin cancer, implications for a role in epidermal differentiation. Cancer is toxicity. It's pockets of toxicity. Your body's putting it there, storing it there to try to get it out of the blood so that you don't die. Cancer is not attacking you. Cancer is trying to save you. So if you want to have a war on cancer, I mean, you can. You're having a war on your body trying to save you from the poisoning that has happened to you or that you did to yourself. That's just the way it is. There's no other explanation. So now, if they start putting, if nicotinic acid is necessary to detox, what do you think we're going to find in cancer cells that are full of toxicity? Chronic UV skin exposure leads to epidermal differentiation defects in humans that can be largely restored by pharmacological doses of nicotinic acid. Wait, let me read that again. Chronic UV skin exposure, so frying yourself in the sun, maybe if you were vitamin A toxic and it was crispy frying you, the toxins in your skin. Chronic UV skin exposure leads to epidermal differentiation defects. Your skin is not making itself again right. In humans, that can be largely restored by pharmacological doses of nicotinic acid. You can fix the damage with nicotinic acid. What is nicotinic acid the gas for? ALDH. What does ALDH help to detox? Vitamin A. Are you putting it all together? Again, chicken or the egg? In normal human and primary and immortalized keratinocytes, nicotinic acid receptors show plasma membrane localization and functional GI-mediated signaling. So that's normal. It shows this, plasma membrane localization and functional signaling, okay? In contrast, in a squamous cell carcinoma-derived cell line, receptor protein shows a more diffuse cellular localization. Here's the important part. Receptors are nearly non-functional. That's not good. But what do you think happens? They were talking about nicotinic acid receptors in the other papers. What do you think happens when you take nicotinic acid? What does the body do if it's able to detox and then fix itself? It's going to make the receptors come back because it's going to get rid of the toxins. So this is what they're going to do. So they see the nicotinic acid receptors are not working in squamous cells. So what are they going to do? It justifies future genetic and pharmacological intervention studies to define possible specific roles, of nicotinic acid receptors in human skin homeostasis. So they can make you drugs and blame your genetics so they can tell you need to be on drugs because your genetics suck. When the problem is toxicity and deficiency. Okay? So that's what I got. So let's go into the testimonials. We got 3 testimonials today. So I want to go into that. So hope you all enjoyed that little sunlight and UVA and UVB and skin cancer and all of this stuff. Your skin problems are vitamin A problems and zinc deficiency problems and nicotinic acid deficiency problems and copper toxicity and vitamin A toxicity and all this stuff. We're working on all of it. It's not a magical week-long fix. This is not a detox weekend. It's not a little cleanse. It's not a vacation. This is real detox. It takes a while. If you want to mess up with other approaches like those people eating eggs and claiming they're detoxed from vitamin A, yet they never test their serum retinol to prove it, you can do that. You can do that. We'll be here when you figure it out. So, Testimonials. Here we go. Testimonial number 1. Now, this is a person who's in the program who has been working very hard, very diligently for a long time. She's had some setbacks. She's continued to work, and she comes to the inner circle, which is my private Q&A that we do after this. And she has just continued to work, and she's attacking it from multiple angles. This is not a vacation. This is not a weekend detox. There can be issues that we need to deal with that are deeper than just food. So I want you to think of all this stuff as we go through this. Okay. And if you haven't seen it, we're going to talk about diabetes here. So if you haven't seen my diabetes episode, you're probably going to want to watch that one on the live stream. Here we go. Hey all, I decided to make this post as an official log of my diabetes glucose blood sugar journey. Maybe it will help others with similar issues. I've had diabetes type 2 for over 10 years, probably before that, but that's when it was made official by the medical establishment. Found this network, the Love Your Liver Network, in the spring of 2020, jumped in with both feet, including testing and consultation. So that's working with me or Nathan. I followed the guidelines pretty well for the next 2 years with a couple of times off the wagon, but not for long. During this time, I felt better, got off thyroid meds. And overall, my tests improved, but the diabetes didn't budge. Okay, well, we got her off thyroid meds. This is progress, right? My A1C 2 years ago was 12, but I didn't feel terrible, so I just kept going. A1C 2 months ago was 10, and the doctor put me on insulin shots, which didn't seem to do much for glucose levels. So she's on insulin. It's not even hammering down her blood sugar levels. So we have pretty stubborn diabetes here, right? Got the A1C down a bit. We got her off thyroid meds. Blood sugar's still high. Put her on her other doctor, not me, put her on insulin shots. She was worried about her blood sugar, so she did it. But it didn't work. So I want you to think of how resistant this problem is, okay? Plus, I didn't want to take them, so I stopped after a couple of weeks. Going hardcore again with the guidelines, I'm assuming she means Love Your Liver guidelines, had my glucose coming steadily down, and my average was in the 220s. Progress. Now, I need you to listen here. Then I started niacin, which sent me right up to the high 200s, low 300s. Not acceptable. I kept going down on niacin, but the glucose didn't come down so much, so I stopped totally. Okay. Now, do I look like I'm afraid to read this? Because we're going to get better. We're going to improve. I want you to understand that when you do pharma cartel meds, or you're doing herbs, or you're doing other things that are not essential, and you want to force down a number like your blood glucose, you are forcing it. Your body you are not fixing it. You are forcing it. And there will be problems later. So if we can force labs to look the way we want them in the beginning, but it causes problems later, what does the opposite look like? If we are going to actually fix the problem, things might look a little worse in the beginning, but then we fix it long term. So let's continue now. Watch this. Then I was watching the YouTube recording about magnesium, was reminded how important it is for glucose regulation. Well, that might be the topical magnesium live stream, I'm guessing. So I jumped in with both feet, literally. I've been doing magnesium and potassium foot soaks every day, plus getting serious about lotion. I get lazy sometimes. So we're talking about the Nutrition Detective Magnesium Lotion, and then she's doing foot soaks. I talk about all of this stuff in that live stream. Okay. Plus, I've been eating more beans. I used to have to limit beans, but weirdly, they seem to agree with me now. This is, folks, if beans don't agree with you at one point of your journey, they might later, and vice versa. They might agree with you at the start, and later they don't so much. Or as you get more in tune with your body, you can feel which types are better and how much and all that stuff. Usually as people go along in the program, they tolerate many, many things more and better. Okay? So more beans and sun fiber for fiber. Unfortunately, my pooping is going the wrong way, so I need to work on that more, as I know it's a big piece of the puzzle. I used to be at least daily, but now it's every 1.5 to 2 days. I suspect it's because of all the diuretics I'm on for heart issues. just not enough liquid in the body, and it shows up in hard and uncomfortable poops. But don't worry, I'm working on that. So this is something, Maria's doing the right thing here. If you're on meds and you're having problems and you're doing, like, let's say, love your liver type stuff, generally, if you're looking to point a finger at what's causing your problems, look at the pharma cartel meds first. Suspect the toxins you're taking as being your primary driver of problems, which is what Maria's doing. And we're getting her where we want to go. Yes, it is possible that not enough water can cause you to get constipated. Diuretics, what do diuretics do? They're basically messing up your water to try to get your blood pressure down. Remember what a blood pressure med, really, when you think of what does a blood pressure med do? Its main side effect is lowering your blood pressure. If that's the way you can think of pharma cartel medications, their indication, what they do, is their main side effect that happens to almost everybody. When you think about it that way, and then there's just all the other side effects that go along with it, but they have the main one that happens to nearly everybody, then you'll understand more about how they're using toxins to do something. Okay. I also did EMF remediation for my whole apartment. We have a whole live stream on EMF, and Sarah Viao is awesome at doing consultations for what you need in your house. I have helped my friend to outfit his house. I put Kelsey in touch with Sarah so Kelsey could get her house done. Like, this is a very, very important thing. Go watch my EMF live stream. Get this done. You can do the minimum where it's just like you do. I mean, you can start with the minimum where you just do the box by your smart meter. You do the clip on your Wi-Fi, and you do, I forget what the other thing was that they send. They send one other thing. Anyway, they have like a basic kit to get started. You can talk to Sarah about how to start so that you don't overdo it, because when you do the EMF remediation, if you do it all at once, you take a huge amount of stress off of your body, and all of a sudden your body's like, oh, cool, let's detox a crap load, and your body can dump a whole bunch. You will get out of that eventually, but if you'd like it to be slower and more comfortable, then talk to Sarah about the order to add these things in at your place. She does the free consultation, and then if you use my code from that other video, I think the link will be down in the info. It already is. If you use the link, then you get a discount, and I think you get free shipping. So I use these things everywhere. Like, actually, just so you know, so I'm not BSing. This is the one little one that goes on the watch. Like it looks like an iWatch or whatever that thing is called, because I don't have one, but I wear it in my pocket. That's where I got it. I got the thing on my Wi-Fi over there. I got the thing on my smart meter. I got the clip on my fan or the air filter in my room. Like, I'm not messing around. And I just got the new phone chip, as they call it, to put on my phone and my kid's phone. I am absolutely all behind this. So, and this is very important. And she's doing hypnotherapy to see if I can break my resistance to change. I have this, quote, nothing works for me syndrome, and the hypnotherapy is really helping with that. Folks, this is where Maria is going to get better, because she's willing to work on this part too. You can keep yourself sick. You can make yourself sick, and you can keep yourself sick with this. I suggested the hypnotherapy. I'll type it in the chat. This guy, David Greenwood, I believe that is his website, davidgreenwoodhypnotherapy.com. He does do distance sessions. I've been to him, I think, 5 or 6 times. I really liked it. I do think it really helped. I think I actually got a ton of benefit out of just kind of admitting to myself what the issues were, I get a lot out of that. If I dig and I really actually bring up what is my issue around this, that actually does a lot for me. But I talked to Maria about when we're doing all these things, physical things, to fix a problem, and it's not changing. It may be here that is the problem. I talked about this, like, I think last week or the 2 weeks before, like especially men with erectile dysfunction and premature ejaculation and these other problems that men have sexually. You can try to do all sorts of drugs. You can try to do all sorts of weird contraptions and all that stuff. But the funny thing is male sexual function is very, very, very inhibited by fight or flight reactions. So if you have a fight or flight reaction in here, it will shut down all the stuff that the meds are doing, supplements, whatever. Your mindset is critical, and it may be, if you're not getting the results you want and you're avoiding looking at your stuff, that may be the only place that's going to work. So if somebody goes like, I tried the Love Your Liver program and it didn't work for me, that may be true, because even the Love Your Liver program is not stronger than this. So let's look at what happened. She is taking some niacin. So she says here, so basically throwing the whole kitchen sink at it. What do we do in the Love Your Liver program? We look at all the angles. My glucose is now averaging about 175, progress, and she didn't need any insulin. Finally, I want to say that I have finally really grasped that blood sugar is not the issue. It's a symptom of how toxic my liver still is and how it's filling the rest of my body with toxic goo as it tries to handle things. I no longer freak out if I have a high glucose reading. I just look at what I might have done different and keep going. This is why Maria is going to get better. If anyone has words of wisdom or is dealing with similar things and wants to go on this journey together, then hit me up. Glad to succeed together. Oh, I gave the wrong. Here, let me give the right link. Joe gave me the right link. Sorry. I thought it was David Greenwood, but it's Greenwood Hypnotherapy. Yeah, Joe, you already put it there. Okay. Thank you. So testimonial number 2. If you didn't know, we did an adrenal fatigue live stream not too long ago. I have a big share. You all are the first to know. In 2012, I was diagnosed with adrenal insufficiency. Okay, if you don't know, by the time conventional medicine diagnoses you with adrenal insufficiency, you're in a bad way. This is significant. This is really significant. And then you hear her say, I literally thought I was dying. I've taken hydrocortisone 3 times a day, every day since, never less than 15 milligrams total, and sometimes more, like after surgery or illness. I tried many times to reduce it, but could never do it without landing on the verge of an adrenal crisis within a few days. I've had doctors lecture me about it, even try to blame my health issues on it when they, in their infinite wisdom, couldn't fit me in the box of their usual protocols. How many folks are here because all the normal protocols didn't work for you? I am really intuitive, and I knew the reason I couldn't reduce was because the issue that caused it hadn't been fixed. September of last year, after wasting thousands of dollars on IV therapies and other BS treatments, I told my functional doctor, see you later, and started this program. I am an intense person, and I didn't have time to waste. And normally I'd be like, oh, that's not a good setup if you're really sick and you're a really intense person and you say you don't have time to waste. I would immediately see that and go, ooh, this is like a setup to push too hard. But anyway, let's see how she did. I was all in with diet. I've done coffee enemas several times a week since day one, even before then. I've taken turpentine 3 times a week for several weeks in a row. These are things, coffee enemas, fine. Turpentine, turpentine may actually be putting vitamin A kind of back in the liver. Anyway, I remove the things that stop my bile flow or reduce it. That's really the better way of putting it. Discovering my issue with sulfur and removing it from my diet and supplements was game-changing. Sulfur slows your detox, folks. I do have old articles about turpentine. I don't think they're in the normal Love Your Liver program, but turpentine at one point I thought helped with vitamin A detox. Nowadays, I don't think terpenes do much in a good way. Several weeks ago, pay attention to this. Several weeks ago, I was not feeling right and my vision was blurry. This would happen when my hydrocortisone dose was too high and needed to be changed. So I made a reduction of 2.5 milligrams and told no one. Not only did I not feel bad, but I felt better. I didn't want to get excited only to be disappointed, so I just kept at it. Detox increased, but I still felt better. We're going to hit all of these things. Over 3 weeks later, and I'm maintaining my dose of 12.5 milligrams, and I'm confident I'll be able to reduce again in time. I have also reduced my thyroid medicine to the lowest amount I've ever taken, and I'm maintaining this too. She's talking about before, my life was extremely stressful, trauma train express here, but I have been juicing carrots and spinach and doing green smoothies while eating minimal animal protein for about 12 to 18 months before my health completely crashed and landed me with adrenal insufficiency. This is quite a setup here. I took Accutane and did Retin-A as a teen. So did my mom. I have felt like I was about to die more than once. It's an actual feeling, and I'm sure some of you know it. I have felt so bad I wished I could die, and still I never quit. Almost 3 years ago, things got so bad again that I prayed God would let me live long enough to see my daughter graduate from her boot camp for the U.S. Marines. The thought of missing all the milestones after ripped my heart in two, but that was so big and so close. My kids have always been my main why. Obviously, I made it, and I've come farther than ever in my healing journey. Let's see. Oh, sorry. Nope, went too far. And I've come farther than ever in my healing journey. It takes time and it takes grit. It takes acceptance. This is my now. It's not my forever. Life is beautiful and it's hard, but it's what we do with the hard that gives it meaning. So for anyone else with adrenal issues or chronic fatigue syndrome, don't give up. As long as we are still here, there's hope. With the heart emoji. Okay. I mean, I used to actually work for the Marshall Foundation, which is a group that this was in my early career. I've seen these things. So you know, like I've done these things. I used to prescribe people hydrocortisone protocols for their autoimmune conditions. They would do a ramp up dose and they would take a break. And they'd go for a while. And then if they had a flare, they would take a ramp up dose and then they'd take a break. Like I have worked in so many of these areas. I realized after a while, I was like, well, hydrocortisone is relatively safe. It's the closest to your own cortisol. But because, that little thing I took the naturopathic oath of treat the cause, why do you have a cortisol deficiency? What is not right that is causing you to have too much or too little of this? You don't have a pharmaceutical hydrocortisone deficiency. You have toxicities and deficiencies. And it took me all this time to get here. So when people think I came up with this out of the blue, no, it's because of the things I've experienced and and quote unquote mistakes I made in the past. And I got to see how it worked. And I got to realize that, are we actually treating the cause with any of this? And for most of the stuff, no. Most of the stuff out there, alternative or conventional, are just covering up symptoms. So first of all, coffee enemas. Let's just, she was all in with diet. Perfect. Coffee enemas. I've talked about coffee enemas before. What coffee enemas do is they trigger a bile dump. And then you aggressively, liquidy poop it out. So it's basically just a bile dump to an aggressive, loose bowel movement. Can it be used? Yes. Do you need to do it? No. Can you do it? Yes. Am I going to do it? No. Am I going to advise people that, they need to stick coffee up their bum? No, I'm not going to do that. If you want to do it, if you've done it before, if you feel better from it, go ahead. But if you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. Turpentine. I tried turpentine for a week according to the whole the ebook that's out there. Yeah, all I got after a week was aggressive turpentine smelling diarrhea. That was fun. And I tried the turpentine bath, and that was one of the most uncomfortable things I have ever done in my life. We don't use turpentine much anymore. But she used it. We've gotten somewhere. Like I said, I don't care what people do. I'm all about them getting better. And eventually the idea would be, well, if you needed turpentine, if you wanted turpentine at one point, if you used it at one point, if it helped at one point, great. Over time, you shouldn't need it anymore because we're fixing the deeper problems. Because nobody has a turpentine deficiency, right? So actually, this is a funny thing I want to say. There's drinks now, like you see them on Instagram. They're like chaga mushrooms and terpenes, and they're trying to replace alcohol. They're like, oh, it doesn't give you a hangover like alcohol. They're terpenes. They are making drinks that alter your brain function with terpenes. Do you know that in Australia, like, it's really hard to get turpentine because the Aborigines there would drink it to get drunk on and ruin their livers completely. Turpentine, for most people, not going to use it. Do I believe in the ebook that's out there saying turpentine is what's going to fix candida and that's going to fix all the health issues around? No, I don't believe that. Especially not after I experimented with it. Because I'm open-minded to it, and I'll tell you, crapping out straight turpentine is not fun. So here we go. She was working on things that mess with bile. That's a lot of things. Sulfur. Sulfur slows detox, folks. It slows ALDH. It's in the literature. It's in the literature. Sulfur slows ALDH, your most important detox enzyme. If you are eating red meat or chicken, you are getting no shortage of sulfur in your diet. There's no such thing as a sulfur deficiency. The sulfates idea, you want the people out there like the Facebook group, they'll talk about, oh, sulfates, you should do Epsom salt baths. You don't. I showed a bunch of research to those people about how sulfate formation is inhibited by vitamin A toxicity. So what should we fix? Vitamin A toxicity. She's taking her minerals. I'm going to guess I could know what that list is. It's probably magnesium and potassium and zinc and selenium and molybdenum. I want you to pay attention to this part. Several weeks ago, I was feeling right in my vision. I was not feeling right. My vision was blurry. This would happen when my hydrocortisone dose was too high and needed to be changed. So I made a reduction of 2.5 milligrams and told no one. Not only did I not feel bad, but I felt better. Okay. This is how we fix hormones on this program. We do not yank away the crutch. Too many people out there hear me talk about crutches and antidotes and all that stuff, and they yank them away from themselves, and they're like, I don't feel good. And I'm like, I didn't tell you to do that. This person listened. So what we do is we say, you can keep the crutch in. And over time, as you get better underneath it, which was what she said, right? She knew something was still not fixed underneath it. We start fixing the underneath. And she says, all of a sudden, I got symptoms of too much of the medication because she's fixing the underneath part. And then she lowered her medication on her own, by her own choice, and she was better. Not only did she not feel bad, she felt better. She's reduced her thyroid hormone medication to lower than it's ever been. We just had Maria who got off her thyroid med. We're fixing thyroids, folks. So detox increased. I'm guessing she's saying that like she was having some detox dumping symptoms, but she felt better. This is key. Over time, we want to see you getting better overall. And yes, you're going to go through periods where you're dumping a lot of bile because that's part of getting better, but we don't want to aggravate it. So we're trying to like modulate it. As you get better, you will make more bile. You will dump more bile. That is the nature of being better. So we are fixing that. Okay. This last one is, and then this, how did she get sick? Right. Well, I mean, there was the high vitamin A diet and low animal protein, which means low zinc and low protein. That crashed her. Accutane, Retin-A. These are the things that people have done. No judgment. It happened. And now we're fixing it. Okay. Testimonial number 3. Garrett Smith, Kelsey Kenny, good news. Gabor and I just had our annual hijama treatment, a Muslim cupping therapy to expel stagnant toxic blood from the mid-back area by our cardiologist. So this is in Turkey, I believe. And I talked to them about this. They cannot do, where they are, they can't do blood donations. So I talked to them about, well, what could we do instead? And I said, is this around? Is this hijama around? Or what some places call wet cupping, where they actually, so what they're doing is they put on a cup, right? If you know what cupping is, I'm not going to explain cupping. If you want to look up like cupping or hijama on YouTube, go ahead. But so they do the cup, which is like, it's like giving you a big hickey. Okay. The cup has a vacuum in it. It kind of gives you like a hickey. They take that off, and then the wet cupping, what they do is they poke some little holes in the hickey area, and then they put another cup on that has the vacuum in it, and it sucks blood into the cup. Wet cupping. So it's a blood draw mechanism. Okay? They couldn't do blood donations there, so this is what they had. The doctor was amazed to find that both of us were able to release a lot more dark blood. And he said that this is because our arteries have become much healthier and more flexible. Clearly, the added niacin flushing along with our Love Your Liver program is working very well. We've been doing the hijama treatment every year for the past 7 years, and we have never seen the cardiologist so pleased. Thank you so much for all your wonderful information and support. Now, I want to say that this person holds the record for the highest blood vitamin A level that I've come across so far. I believe her first serum retinol was a 99. And I think, if I recall correctly, her husband was either just slightly below her or he might have been in the hundreds. I don't remember. Doesn't really matter. But they were both super duper high. And we are working hard to bring them down. She's working very hard. She comes to the office hours to work with me regularly, and her husband's there too, and we are getting there. So the doctor is saying, based on his assessment, they're getting better, and they're doing the niacin. So those are the 3 testimonials. So now let me get back in here, and we'll do the super chats. Let me get a little more comfy here. What are we at? 2.5 hours. Okay, I'm going to try to get done with these in a half hour. Okay, so let me see. Okay, Tao Lin, thank you for the super chat. Hi, Dr. Smith. When I eat meat cooked at high temperatures, such as seared meat or meat baked at above 200 degrees or so, it triggers my eczema. Why? Probably because the oxidized proteins or whatever is being oxidized in the meat. Well, so I'm going to make an assumption here, right? Capital ass at the start of assume or assumption, as in you're making an ass out of you and me. So I'm making an assumption here. I'm looking at your name, and I'm going to make a judgment based on your name that you're Asian. Okay, this doesn't really matter. It's just it adds a statistic to it. 50% of the Asian population is said to be genetically slow with their ALDH. Okay, ALDH detoxes aldehydes. Vitamin A is an aldehyde. Alcohol, ethanol, turns into acetaldehyde. Methanol, which is in some foods, we have an article in the Love Your Liver program about avoiding formaldehyde from methanol. So like if somebody drinks what they call wood alcohol, right, methanol, and they go blind, that's because of the formaldehyde. Or if it kills them, it's because it converts into formaldehyde and the body can't get rid of it fast enough. So anyway, aldehydes are bad. Let me just go do a quick search and see. Let me just go see if there's more aldehydes in cooked meats. There we go. Let me... This is just something I looked up right now. Dissecting grilled red and white meat flavor, its characteristics, production mechanisms, influencing factors, and chemical hazards. So I'm just going to say something right now so we can be clear on this. In medical school, people still joke at me about in medical school, like I was on the raw primal diet, the Agenus von der Planet's primal diet. So when guys on Twitter are like, this is the best diet ever, I'm like drinking milkshakes of raw milk and raw eggs and raw honey. I can only tell you what I observed. The women on that diet got obese very quickly. Just absolutely obese. It's just what I watched. I watched it happen. And I read on the internet that this was like super common, that women, and then they'll try to claim it's healing pounds when these women are like, and then it's the women were just following usually their man into this diet. The women were following their men, and then these women were getting like 200, 250 pounds. That's not healing, folks. That's storing toxicity and frying your thyroid. Anyway, so I was eating raw meat. Now, I will say, I ate raw lamb. I ate raw chicken. I did try to protect myself from the chicken because I was still a little hesitant on it. I would put the chicken in lemon juice, and I would put in a fair amount of salt, and I would put in, back then I put in a bunch of garlic because I was like, I wanted to kill anything in here. So I figured between the lemon juice and the salt and the garlic, I was going to be safe. But I bring that like weird chicken ceviche to my clinic shifts and eat it there in front of people. Part of it was fun because, when you gross out people and there's like, oh, I could never do that. Oh my gosh. That was fun. That's fun for me. I kind of like being different. But anyway, I felt really, really good after eating raw lamb. Trader Joe's used to have these like lamb leg steaks. So there was just a little bone in the middle and the rest of it was just meat outside. I would eat that with like some balsamic vinegar and salt on it. It was really good. And I will say that I felt better after eating raw red meat than I did after cooked meat. I will say that cooked meat, I like the taste better. I went back to it. Would I go and eat like quality, grass-fed, properly fed raw red meat again ever? Sure, I would. Yeah. So anyway, let's go and look in this one. Now, let me do the link. Even though I'm not sure how much we're going to find in here, but basically, okay. So, wait, did this do it? Oh, maybe it just didn't show it. No, there it is. Okay. So let's say, this was the theory I had. When I saw your name, Tao, and I assumed I did Asian. I'm not assuming gender. I'm not going there. But I thought, okay, so if you're Asian, 50% genetic chance you have slow ALDH, aldehyde dehydrogenase. What if the thing that's bothering you is aldehydes, which are created by oxidation, which is cooking is one thing that can oxidize them. Okay, so let's just go find aldehydes. Why isn't it searching? Hello. There it is. Grilling with the aid of charcoal increases the risk of pollution, well, it's smoke, and leads to higher levels of benzene, formaldehyde, and polyaromatic hydrocarbons. You're burning stuff. Like anybody out there who's like, smoking tobacco is good for you. I mean, inhaling smoke or putting smoke on food, smoke particles, is not good for you. It never will be. Okay? That's just the way it is. I'm not saying you have to never grill again. I'm saying smoke is not good for you to breathe, and it's not good to put smoke burned particles on your food. Am I saying to never do it? No, I'm just saying this is the way it is. Okay? So we have an aldehyde. Okay, let's keep going. Aldehydes. Aldehydes are considered the main secondary oxidation products of fats, malondialdehyde, particularly from PUFAs, and are well-known indicators of the oxidation level in meat. Aldehydes usually stand out as the major contributors to grilled meat aroma, that's the smell, owing to their low odor threshold. I believe they're saying low odor threshold as in humans are very well designed to smell aldehydes. So we don't need much to smell them, even though compared to other animals, our sense of smell is not very good. They are detected both on the surface and in the inner layers of meat exposed to heat. They didn't have this part, but aldehydes are mainly formed upon PUFA oxidation. Malondialdehyde. Nobody talks about malondialdehyde in the PUFA world. They're just like, PUFAs are bad, but they never talk about aldehydes. I don't know why they cut off each of these paragraphs. Volatiles produced belong to many classes, the most prevalent which are aldehydes. So I'm going to guess, Tao, that you have an issue. You probably have, if you're still here, Tao, do you get the Asian flush or the Asian glow? Hopefully you know what that is. If you don't know what it is, ask. But if you get that, then that is an indicator that you have a slow ALDH system. And that would make sense that you may be sensitive to the aldehydes in cooked meats. Does anybody know if Tao is still here? Or do you have to leave? Or she? I don't know. Maybe you had to go. Or maybe they had to go. I'm trying to be considerate here. I don't know. So anyway, so let's just go over. So hopefully they will watch this later. The hotter you cook your meat, the more you burn and char your meat. That is not good for you. Okay? Like eating meat that is a black disc is not good for you. That would be the worst. Okay? So then there's all sorts of stuff in between. The lower the temperature that you cook your meat at, the better it's going to be for you. Am I saying you have to eat raw meat? No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying if there's ways that you can cook your meat lower and slower and not sear it to like basically crispy fry the outside as much as you can, or if you cook your meat, the people who are really, really sensitive in the program, often, as you were mentioning, Tao, they will. Now, I know people are going to hear this and they're going to be like, oh, that's gross, but these people have to do it to feel better. They might boil their meat or steam their meat. Because when you cook with water, you're not really going above 212 degrees Fahrenheit or 100 degrees Celsius if you're into that. So that is just generally, if this helps you make a decision, if Tao, if you wanted to eat really, really low cooked meat, or even try, if you have a really good source of meat and you trust it, if you wanted to try eating like fresh raw meat and see if you get along with that, then you know that something in the cooking was causing it. Very likely aldehydes, based on that genetic connection that is statistically potentially likely here. So that's what I got. Okay. Eczema is an aldehyde problem. Eczema is a retinaldehyde problem. And so if you slow down your aldehydes or you add more aldehydes to the system, it's gonna build up, and yours shows up as eczema. Let me go do that. Let's just see if there's anything on this. Eczema, aldehyde dehydrogenase. I don't know if we'll find anything. Oh, here we go. See how these things go together? Alcohol-induced facial flushing. This is the Asian glow, the Asian flush, as they call it, in a patient with atopic dermatitis, which is related to, if not exactly, eczema. Treated with dupilumab. So they're slowing down. The drug is slowing down ALDH, and this person already has atopic dermatitis. So they just made it worse, is what they did. Slowing down ALDH is the mechanism of many, many medications. So they're connected. It's most likely the aldehydes, is my guess. Okay. So let's go back here. Sam asks, thank you for the super chat, Sam. Thank you for the super chat, Tal. That was a good question. Is there something toxic in dry aged beef? Thanks. Well, the more beef is aged, the more histamine it tends to have in it. What does histamine go through? One of the metabolic products of histamine goes through, guess what it is? Guess which detox enzyme? ALDH. So we've got, let me share this one. So just again, this is connected to Tao's question still, and your question, Sam. The effects of different cooking methods on histamine levels in selected foods. And then just so we can do this one while we're here, histamine contents in raw, long ripening meat products commercially available in Poland. So I'm not going to show the research. You can look up histamine and aldehyde dehydrogenase. They're connected. So what we're getting at, let me look at this. Let me look at this paper about the cooking methods. So results. Grilled seafood had higher histamine levels than raw or boiled seafood. Does that make sense with what we've learned? Yes. For meat, grilling increased the histamine level, whereas boiling decreased it. For eggs, there was not much difference in histamine level according to cooking method. Fried vegetables had higher histamine levels than raw vegetables, and fermented foods didn't show much difference in histamine level after being boiled. Come on, there we go. Let's do this. So, the higher the heat, the more histamine. Histamine's related to aldehydes. Aldehydes go up with cooking too. So the lower temperature you cook things, especially if it's water-based, like boiling or steaming, the less aldehydes you're going to create, the less histamine, the less histamine you're going to create. And so we have histamine contents in raw, long ripening meat. I'm not saying you can't ever eat these things. I'm saying if you don't react well with it, then you know that it's either too many aldehydes for you, or maybe you're just not ready for it yet. Many consumers seek long ripening meat products. The availability of these highly distinctive cured pork varieties is continuously expanding. Their safety should be subject to monitoring. The safety of these long cured pork products, because they're not safe. One of the multiple potentially harmful substances in these products is histamine. The presence of this toxic amine is reported in many countries, even in high concentrations. Even in high concentrations. I'm guessing they're not English native speakers. Anyway, that's most likely what is going on. The longer your meat sits around, the more histamine it forms. The hotter you cook your meat at, the more histamine forms. Okay? Histamine goes through ALDH. We try to deal with ALDH all sorts of ways on this program, and one of the ways we deal with it best is putting in as few aldehyde things as possible. So the fresher your meat is and the lower temperature you're willing to cook it at, the less histamine you're going to have and probably the better you're going to feel. Okay? So we got Sam's question. Sam, I don't know if you put that up twice. Joe has it listed here twice, so who knows? Either way, if you did it twice, thank you for both of those. I do get to all these questions. Okay, Eleanor by design, thank you for the super chat, says, I'm taking 8 grams of nicotinic acid, which feels great. Oh, Sam had a follow-up? Well, I'll come back to that. I'll get back to that. I already started. I think my high dose is related to my amalgams, as in mercury fillings. This May, I will be removing most. Should I expect any nicotinic acid challenges? An amalgam removal vid would be great. Thanks. Kelsey might have, if she's still here, Kelsey might have a better answer on the nicotinic acid related to the mercury. Oh, it's funny, y'all. People on Twitter are accusing Kelsey of that I have a sock puppet account. I have a fake account that's actually me posting as Kelsey, which is very humorous because Kelsey's in the live chat right now and I'm obviously busy. So this is how desperate the haters are. Is they're trying to claim that I'm making up a whole new account just to post so I can say how smart Kelsey is, so I can indirectly say how smart I am, I guess, is what they think. It sounds like they have really toxic livers to me, and they're reaching for straws and only grabbing the short ones. So with amalgams. So first of all, this is one of the biggest things that dentists should be embarrassed that they ever put these into people. Dentists should absolutely, like, I'm embarrassed that I gave people vitamin A and vitamin D. But I'm like one of the only people out there talking about not doing it. So I've repented. I am here saying I messed up. Where's my, there it is. And I'm fixing the problem. That's all I can do, right? All I can do is say I messed up. I can't change the past, but I can help people not make the same mistakes. Dentists are just like, well, all the insurance will pay for is mercury fillings. You know what my dad did? My dad just made people pay the difference. He would bill the insurance company for mercury fillings. And he would tell people, I don't do mercury fillings. I'll do the porcelain or the ceramic or whatever you want to call them. He's like, you just got to pay the difference from what the insurance would pay. And people were like, okay. That's how my dad got around it. That's like the kind of people, that's like the men in this family. We don't put up with poisoning people. If people got to pay a little more money to not poison themselves. I mean, don't we all have to pay a little more money to not poison ourselves just with organic food? But dentists should absolutely be disgustingly embarrassed that they're putting a toxic metal into people's mouths. And they're not. Oh, it doesn't absorb. No, like, give me a break. Like, have you seen what they do when a mercury thermometer breaks? Like, it's like hazmat lockdown. Oh, we're going to put mercury in your mouth and it's not going to absorb. So I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything negative about you, Eleanor. People went through it. Lucky me, I never had to have any fillings. My teeth just, that's one of my really strong areas of my system, is that I don't have, knock on wood, I don't have any teeth issues. So what can you do to prepare? Well, it depends on if you're seeing an IAOMT.org certified holistic dentist where they are trained in amalgam filling removal and doing it as safely as possible. Because folks, if you don't think these things are toxic, if you got your mercury fillings removed by a normal dentist, you will see them strapping up like they're going into a toxic waste dump. They'll be wearing masks and goggles and breathing, and they'll have all sorts of stuff going on to protect them from the stuff that they put in your mouth to absorb. Sounds fair. Sounds like a good idea, right? So she says she's got a smart dentist. Okay, cool. So, or is smart one of the mercury removal groups? Was that one of them? Anyway, so IAOMT.org is the one that trains them. So things that you can do, like oftentimes dentists will offer the opportunity to do like an IV of vitamin C during the removal, which IV vitamin C basically kind of puts a stop on the on your bile production. So in a certain way, the stuff that is going down into your system, it's going to kind of get stuck more in your liver instead of like going out into your system. Okay. That's something. I would definitely, one thing you can do, Eleanor, to work on the mercury that is coming out into your mouth on a daily basis. First of all, hot drinks will off-gas the amalgams, so the less heat you put in your mouth, whether that's hot coffee or hot tea or hot water or whatever you're drinking, or food, even hot food, the lower the temperature, the less the mercury is going to off-gas from the fillings. There's that. You could do things like charcoal swishes, because that will help absorb some of the charcoal or some of the mercury that is stuck in your mouth tissues, because it makes sense to me, and it should make sense to you, that the place in your body that has the highest amount of mercury stored in the cells is your mouth. That's where it goes first, right? Just like if you have a tight lower back and you put magnesium lotion on it first, it goes to your low back first, right? So if you have mercury fillings in your mouth and they're off-gassing, what cells are exposed to it first? The ones in your mouth. So where could you start your detox without going systemic? You could swish some charcoal, and this does help. Next, you could be taking charcoal internally to start working on the mercury. Oh, what Kelsey put up a paper, and I'll get that in just a sec, Kelsey. So yeah, taking charcoal internally to help soak up the toxic bile that already has mercury in it. From what you've absorbed. Generally, one of the minerals that is the most important for mercury detox is selenium. I like selenium glycinate. I like, L-selenomethionine is pretty okay too, but we're moving more towards selenium glycinate. I do not like selenites. I do not like selenates. But selenium, actually, the testimonial number 3, she got, oh my gosh. The testimonial number 3 that I went over, she got 7 fillings removed at once. Don't do that. It's kind of like the EMF thing. When people put in all the EMF stuff at once, it reduces the stress on your system so fast that you start detox dumping like crazy. Your body's just like, you ever go on a vacation, right? You've been working real hard. You've been working your butt off. You've been studying or whatever. You have your test or you have your big project. It's done. You stressed out before it. You were eating like crap. You weren't exercising. You weren't sleeping well. Everything was just terrible. And you're just like, I've just got to finish this. So everything's building up in you. And then you go on vacation. And then you get sick. You started to detox. You were like shutting down detox as much as you possibly could, because that's what your body does, because your body says, I'm going to do this. This is like your body perceives it as a survival thing. So your body says, detox, not right now. Just wait. Just wait. And then you go on your vacation and your body goes, huh. And then it all starts coming out. So you're getting 9 out, Eleanor, over a 15-day period. Well, Eleanor, are you in the Love Your Liver program? You will be soon. If you go into the Love Your Liver program, this might be worth it for you to do soon, would be go and message Nurit, Nurit, and ask her for her experience getting 7 out at once. I would suggest that you spread it out more. That would be based on what I've seen. I've seen people. Okay, so here's what I can say. Here's the experience I have, the data I have under my belt. Doing 2 or 3 at a time, maybe spaced out by a month or 2. Usually I think people are spacing them out because they need to, because of funds. Then we don't have any distinct, like, well, it needs to be 2 months between each one. But I think I haven't had Nurit had a really rough time when she got 7 out at once, and she'd had them for like 40 years. So she had a really rough time. I mean, I gave her a lot of selenium, which helped. She did the charcoal washes, the swishes. She did charcoal internally. She was doing she was doing that. She was doing blood donations and other stuff like that. So she did what I asked. It was still rough. Zinc helps with mercury detox too. So, yeah. I mean, it's good you're getting them out. If you get them out and you have a rough time, let's say you did it. Let's say you did 9 out over a 2-week period and you have a rough time. The rough time's going to end. It is, but it might be rough. And if you're not working with with the testing and consultation with me to get the advice to go along, so you can be like, well, this is happening, what do I do now? And then I can help, which is what I did with Nurit. Then you're just on your own. Usually the holistic dentist will give you a big glass of charcoal to drink before you start it. They might do a whole crap load of other supplements because they like to sell that stuff. I don't know. Every doctor out there, every dentist, they get a protocol from some group and they're going to have to tweak it on their own, right? I'm done with tweaking other people's protocols. I'm so far out there, like everything's mine. People always ask me if I follow this guy on YouTube or whatever. And I'm like, I don't follow anybody. And I'm not saying that out of arrogance. I'm saying I don't have time and I don't learn anything from anybody, because they're all just regurgitating the same old stuff. They just tweak it a little bit. And the biggest names are just controlled oppos. Anyway, but yeah, so Eleanor, I think charcoal would be really good. You may even want to look into some of Kelsey's zeolite in her Etsy store. May want to talk to her about that. Let me open up that paper. So this was the paper, Joe, if you want to share this. Oh, yeah. This might be why you're doing... Okay, so let me back up 1 second. Eleanor is doing 8 grams of nicotinic acid. 8 grams. 8,000 milligrams. That's a lot. That's a lot. Why? And as she was saying, why might she be benefiting? Why might she feel like she needs this much and this much is helping her feel better? Well, she's got mercury fillings. Niacin prevents mitochondrial oxidative stress caused by subchronic exposure to methyl mercury. Well, this methyl mercury is what's usually in fish, but it's all related. Oh, wait, where'd that go? Okay. Okay. So, yeah, it's probably protecting you from the mercury that's in your system. And that's why you're doing it. Now, when we talk about stuff on the Love Your Liver program, now, people can do whatever the heck they want, and you can make whatever decisions you want about your health. That's up to you. I'm not responsible for anything you do after listening to this, because I am a doctor, but I'm not your doctor unless you're working with me. And if you want to ask me individual questions on what you should do, that's in the office hours. That's with my clients, my active clients. So any decisions you make on information you get here is totally up to you. 8 grams, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying it's a lot. I'm letting everybody else. So Eleanor, I'm not saying you have to change anything. I'm letting everybody else know that 8 grams of niacin is a pretty big dose. The most I've ever taken in one day was 20 grams. Did it do anything special for me at that dose? No, it didn't. I was taking it more to prove to myself and for all of you out there that it was safe. I've taken 15 grams a day for a week. Actually, one of those days was the 20 gram day. I'm still here, doing pretty well. But do I think people need those doses? No. I mean, the 20 gram dose was like a high dose in an animal study. That was a definite big dose. I think I took 5 grams 4 times that day. Like I said, did it benefit me? I don't think so. I normally, just so you know, in the Love Your Liver program, we talk about generally, so I'm not saying you're doing anything wrong, Eleanor. Generally, I'm saying you can probably stop around 5 grams if you get up that high and if you feel like it's benefiting you. No, that was not. No, Mate, when I'll talk about that in a second. That was not the dose. No. Where was I? Oh, so we usually stop people at 5 grams, but if somebody felt going above that was beneficial to them and in their judgment, they wanted to keep going, I have no problem with that. But a lot of people are getting a lot of benefit out of much lower doses. And some people, folks, the more toxic you are, the stronger your flush reaction is going to be to nicotinic acid in the beginning at lower doses. I flushed at 50 milligrams when I first started. 50. Now I can take, you just saw me drink 2,500 milligrams in this show. And I had a little bit of a flush. I like to have a little bit of a flush. I don't want to, so there's a weird thing where if you go really high on nicotinic acid, the flush will stop. You don't have it anymore. I think that can tell you, potentially you, Eleanor, if you're listening still, if you're on a dose of nicotinic acid where you do not flush anymore, I think it would probably be like if you've gone all the way up and so you've flushed and then you get to the far side and you're not flushing anymore. I think it would be wise to go back to where you have a little flush. So back off the dose. If we're talking like you're on gram doses, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, go back to where you flush. So actually, Mate asked, was that the dose, like the 20 grams or whatever that you took, and then you were shaking with chills in the car at New Year's Eve or something? You barely flush? Okay, Eleanor, that's if you barely flush, if you regularly barely flush, I think that may be a good dose for you now. And with the mercury issue, that may be a good thing. Narit didn't have the benefit of the niacin thing when we went through it with her. So, but yeah. So one thing, if you guys don't know, the flush can be redness and tingling and, so I've been over this before, but the niacin flush is most likely. So if you look at the niacin flush compared to the sun poisoning and the sun allergy and that stuff that we went over before and the sunburn and vitamin A toxicity, The flush is like a super compact version of a sunburn and vitamin A toxicity. Sunburn and vitamin A toxicity take a week or two to go through, whereas the niacin flush, because you gave it the very thing that's causing it is the gasoline for detox. I actually believe that the niacin flush is a accelerated, rapid detox of vitamin A in your skin as it goes through the different phases, which is what it would do if you had acute vitamin A toxicity or if you had a sunburn. And that's why people feel better after it. And they intuitively, a lot of people intuitively, they start to go, you know, the flush has symptoms that go with it, feelings, whatever you want to call it. But people actually start to kind of like it often. And they know, or they just know, okay, I don't really like the flush, but I know it's good for me, so I'm going to do it anyway. Not just that they've been told it's good for them, they feel like it's doing good things for them. So, but yeah, one of the other symptoms that can happen with niacin, especially after you get, if you remember in the sun poisoning, there was fever and chills. You can get chills after a niacin flush too. That happens. I had that one night where I'm in Tucson and it had just gotten cold around New Year's, and I had flushed before I left the house, and I was not dressed very well for it. Just all of a sudden got cold. And so it's a cold night, and I flushed and I had the chills, and I was in my car just shaking and shaking, put on the beanie and the sweatshirt I had in the car and turned on the heater. And in a couple minutes I was just fine. So anyway, that was a fun little, but I don't get the chills anymore. Like a lot of the stuff you get at the beginning is because you are so toxic, and it's like these toxicity responses as you're detoxing them. So let's see. There was one more. Okay. So wait, Joe, Sam had a follow-up. Did Sam have a new question, or was it just the two questions? Okay, Christina asks, so dryness of some areas of skin, hands, face from higher nicotinic acid, like 300 milligrams times 2 daily, is a detox symptoms with or without flush? Basically, I would say and I think Kelsey would say this too, if you're getting to the point where you're getting a little bit of dry skin that's hanging around from nicotinic acid, I would consider backing off by half, whether you go down to 1 dose a day or whether you do 2 doses of half as much, and then make sure you're getting enough water. That could be part of it. So let's see. Hold on, let me go down here. He asked about glutamine. Okay, so there it is. Sam had a follow-up question. Could it be glutamate also? I feel very sick from it, but not usually that bad with histamines. I mean, do you know, Sam, if you have let me see. I mean, it could be glutamate, but I don't know if it does. Kelsey, if you know this, do you know, does anybody know if cooking increases glutamate content? I don't know. If it did, then that's a possibility. I'm not seeing. I'm not seeing anything on cooking and glutamate. Oh, you're saying Sam's saying cooked is okay, but 30-day aged. Okay, so let's look up that. Let's do aged meat glutamate content. There you go. Why isn't this searching it? Come on. Okay, let's go back. I don't think either it's not working. Let's just look at this. Let's just look at this, Joe. I'll put the link here, but this is just a DuckDuckGo search. So Sam was saying histamine doesn't seem to be his problem. Could it be glutamate? Here we have effective dry aging on meat quality attributes and metabolite profiles, and then we have increased Oh, come on. Why did that disappear? Increased glutamate content in beef through the aging process has been observed, reporting an increase in beef glutamate content during wet aging. However, the results from the current study clearly indicate that glutamate levels were higher after dry aging. So this paper, what is going on? I'll put this link here, but what I'm saying is that it doesn't seem like everything's on that paper, or it doesn't let me use control find. But yeah, it could be glutamate. Absolutely. Okay, so T. Howell asks, can you tell us about dark circles and puffy areas under the eyes in relation to toxic bile theory? Anyone noticed improvements in this? So in the natural health world, dark circles and puffy eyes tend to be associated with allergies. I've shown a ton of research that allergies are absolutely connected to vitamin A toxicity. Like, they give kids more vitamin A as a kid, whether it's fruits and vegetables or multivitamins or cod liver oil, and they have more allergies and asthma as they grow up, even 7 years later after they did the first questioning and they went over with the kids. So I know that there seems to be some connection in Chinese medicine. Allergies are often connected with the kidneys. And in Chinese medicine, the adrenals are part of the kidneys. So if we're talking about allergy, if you're talking about kidneys, you're talking about kidneys and adrenals. So different people. Well, first of all, let's just go over this. So dark circles so puffiness and dark circles, they're generally regarded as like a similar thing. They tend to come together. Okay. Now, different facial structures will tend to show this more or less, right? So the way your face is structured, it could make this problem look better than it actually is. It could make it look worse than it actually is. So there is that to factor in. Next, different people will show up with, like, so we have tons of people who are vitamin A toxic. Do all of them have seasonal allergies or allergy type symptoms? No. Not everybody's symptoms show up the same. I know in my genetics from my dad had horrible seasonal allergies. And here's the funny thing. This is where I started connecting alcohol to allergies. I would watch my dad come home, and after a hard week or whatever at the dental office, and he'd seem to be fine. And then all of a sudden, he would start drinking a glass of white wine, which contains sulfites along with alcohol. So imagine sulfites in wine, right? Sulfites slow ALDH. Ethanol turns into acetaldehyde, which then needs ALDH to detox it. So you're adding an aldehyde source to something that already sulfites are slowing down ALDH. So ALDH is necessary to detox what? Vitamin A. My dad, I could hear him start sniffling and sneezing, and basically the allergies just coming on almost like minutes after he started drinking that glass of white wine. And even me in my early 20s, I was like, this is such an obvious connection, Dad. He wasn't going to hear me, though. He was going to have his white wine. So there's that. I used to get seasonal allergies. My son, who I poisoned with vitamin A by accident by giving him tons of goat milk. And then there was all the stupid baby foods, the healthy organic baby foods that had like sweet potato and carrots and spinach and all that other garbage. Part of how I got here today was realizing that, I poisoned my son into his anaphylactic tree nut allergy. And he does tend to have the shiners. I only have him 3 days a week, so it's kind of hard for me to undo all the damage that is done at the other house. So for all of you single moms and single dads out there who are trying to do good things for your kids, I understand. It's hard. So as an example, my son just went up to Phoenix with me this last weekend. He was over at his cousin's house. And if any of you who have lived in Arizona and you know about the Palo Verde trees, the Palo Verde trees they're like a green tree that turns absolutely yellow with so much pollen. And when that pollen falls, there are piles of pollen in like all the corners of the parking lots. Anywhere there's a corner that the wind blows to, there's piles of bright yellow pollen. And people know that when that pollen falls off of the trees, if you got a Palo Verde sensitivity, which is full of vitamin A, right? Then you get allergies. And I saw some gaslighting article where they're like, Palo Verde pollen doesn't cause seasonal allergies. And I was like, everybody here knows. Like, why are you even saying that? So anyway, my boy said he went swimming in a pool where there was pollen all over the pool, and he actually helped to like skim it out. And he's like, Dad, there was just so much pollen everywhere. And he had these like big shiners. He's pretty sensitive allergy wise. So anyway, I just told him, I said, there's not much I can do for you now, bud. There's pollen everywhere. And of course, he's over at his cousin's house and he's like, well, they gave me a Zyrtec. And I'm like, yeah. Anyway. So I try to, he's 12. He's doing the best he can with what he has available, and he's trusting, the adults around him. One of whom is a physical therapist, and one of whom used to be a pharmaceutical rep. So anyway, but the other thing about kidneys and allergies is one of the things that toxic bile will go and hit. If it's leaking into your bloodstream, the second line of defense to detox the toxic bile is your kidneys. And if you tend to have, where was Grant going with his chronic kidney disease, right? He had jaundice from the liver, so he was turning yellow. He had chronic kidney disease, and he had eczema. So he was having overload of vitamin A and all the other crap that goes along with it in his liver, in his kidneys, and in his skin. So it does come out your skin. One of the ways for people who don't have a lot of skin problems, one of the ways it may show up kidney-wise as the puffy eye circles or the dark circles, the shiners, as they call them. So is it now also, lack of sleep will cause them too. So lack of sleep, insomnia is a big problem with toxicity and deficiencies. So we're constantly trying to work on those. And just one other thing is everybody has, right? Everybody's genetics, if you want to call it that, they have the weakest link in their chain, right? When we're talking about the weak link in people's chain. Each person's weak link, whether that's from genetics, whether that's from their toxicities, whether that's from, their blend of toxicities, their blend of deficiencies, their blend of, what they grew up with in their household, all that stuff can affect them differently, but they could have their weak link may be their kidneys. And so they show up with like a kidney related thing, which might be like these eye circles, and it might be like a tendency towards a stiff lower back. It doesn't mean they have low back pain. It's just stiff. I think that's a referred pain from the kidneys because they aren't as happy as they could be because they're being hit by too much toxic bile. Over time, do I think this will improve? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if somebody was never getting good sleep and you're like, why are your eyes all puffy and dark circles? Well, it's because you didn't get enough sleep. I mean, geez. So, but if somebody's still toxic, I mean, Grant says, just so you guys keep this in mind, Grant says that like after 9 years, he's still seeing improvements. There's still things that are improving 9 years in. He got rid of all the big things, but he's still seeing 9 years in changes and improvements. That is how deep this runs. Like we're rearranging how entire cells fix themselves. And as they get more detoxed, they function better. And then things slowly just, this thing goes away and 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 this thing goes away. And like we have people, how many of you who are here in the live chat, or if you want to comment later, how many of you had problems go away that you didn't really even recognize were problems until later you were like, oh, wait, crap, that went away. I had no idea. I wasn't even worried about it. I wasn't even trying to make it go away. It just went away. That is what detox does. So let me hit on I've got a couple more questions. You guys, please, no more super chats. Like no more super chats. We're done. I'm glad you guys are sending them. It's awesome. And I got to get to the inner circle because I got children to drive around after this. Okay, so we had John Dickinson. Oh, I accidentally skipped you, John. I'm very sorry, John. We have a super chat from John. He says, can't handle oral nicotinic acid. Try topical or just wait. If you're willing to try topical, I think we've seen a lot of people able to handle things topically that they couldn't handle orally. And just recently, I was thinking about this, and there's a thing with when I was in medical school, naturopathic medical school, I thought I was really, like, I was into lifting and stuff, and I thought it would be an easy thing to go into testosterone replacement therapy. I'll go into it. So what I did was I learned a lot about steroids. Because you go on steroid boards, I did some testosterone replacement therapy, like 150 milligrams a day for like 6 months of long time, like 8 years ago, 10 years ago, something like that. I tried it out for 6 months. I did not feel good by the end of the 6 months. I gained about 25 pounds. I was big boy. It was a mistake. I did that. I don't have people do it anymore. I fix people without needing it. I got here because of my mistakes and because I tested these things out. So if there's going to be somebody on Twitter who's going to be like, look, gotcha, Dr. Smith. And I'll be like, I did this before I ever knew about vitamin A. And my testosterone was like 600 back then. And as you saw the video on YouTube, it was 900 after that. So I got it better. Anyway. People are going to do whatever they can to try to poke holes in this, aren't they, folks? So, but I thought I was going to be into that. And so I was actually using some of the ideas from the steroid world, if you will, when I was thinking about topical applications of things versus oral. Well, let's think of injectable steroids versus, or topical. There's now like testosterone, you can get testosterone lotion and put it on, or you can get pills, right? The pills have to have, what is it, alkylated? I'm trying to remember. 17 whatever alkylated. I don't remember all that detail. I just know they have to put a group on, a chemical group on oral steroids so that when it comes down to your liver chops off the first thing your liver can do to it, or like the only thing it can do to it on that, what's called the first pass, is chop off that 17 alkylated or whatever it is. It chops off that group, and then the steroid molecule can go into your bloodstream. Okay. it is well known that oral steroids are the most toxic to your liver. They have to put on this like distraction for the liver. So your liver is probably going, oh, that's really toxic. Let's chop that off. But now you got this poison thing that the liver has to deal with. Also, you can get the steroid molecule into the bloodstream past what's called the first pass metabolism. So it comes in your gut, the enterohepatic circulation, the portal vein, which is what grabs everything from your guts and takes it straight to the liver. Then it goes and it chops off that extra group, and then you have the steroid floating around in your bloodstream. Whereas, let's say you did something topical, like a lotion, or you did an injectable. It goes right into the blood, so that those oral steroids have to go through the liver before they can get to the bloodstream. That's what I'm saying. The other way you can go straight to the bloodstream, whether it's an injection or a topical or whatever, or a sublingual, it goes straight to the bloodstream and it avoids what's called the first pass metabolism of the liver. So as an example, instead of making the liver sicker by taking hormones, what if we were trying to get something, what if taking something healthy, niacin, zinc, magnesium, selenium, let's say you took these things orally and they did something in the liver to, let's say, increase bile dumping or dump copper out of the liver, dump vitamin A out of the liver. And because you're still leaking toxic bile, you dump that extra toxicity into your bloodstream and you don't feel good. Okay? Or you do topical nicotinic acid or topical zinc or topical magnesium or these things topically and it goes into your bloodstream. Now, before that mineral or amino acid in the case of nicotinic acid, before it can get to your liver, it might be completely absorbed by the tissues as it passes them. So then it's possible that none of it actually makes it to the liver to trigger that dump. You see? Like, this is why you put the magnesium on the areas that hurt, because you want that magnesium, like if your elbow hurts, you want the magnesium topical to go right there and be absorbed by those tissues, because those are the ones that probably need it the most to help you out of your symptom. If you get a systemic effect from it, like it helps you sleep, you put magnesium on your elbow and it helps your elbow feel better and you fall asleep better. Could be because of less pain, but it could also be because you put enough magnesium in that it went systemic, and then you got a systemic effect like better sleep. So it is quite possible that by going topically, by avoiding the first pass metabolism of the liver, if you want to call it that, or by avoiding it hitting the liver and doing something to the liver, you can just get it in and it can be absorbed by the tissues on its way in, and you don't get the systemic effect. Why am I against boron? Boron is not an essential mineral, and it causes infertility in animal studies over and over, and it's a disaster. That's why. You're welcome to take it, though. Come back later when you find out it didn't work. Yeah, boron destroys animal testicles, basically. The idea would be, so you don't need boron to make testosterone. So the idea here would be, if you take boron, it's not an essential mineral, and it's not an essential mineral. Long-term high-dose studies in animals show it causes infertility, particularly in male rats. So if along the way they do a short-term study in humans where they give high-dose boron to men for like 10 or 14 days and they see it raises testosterone, where did the testosterone come from? Does it make sense that if you have testosterone in testicular cells, long-term it causes destruction of the testicles? It's blowing things up. So short-term, when you still have enough cells, you blow up the cells, you see more testosterone in the bloodstream. Long-term, you destroy more cells than you're able to fix, and then you see low testosterone and you see infertility. Boron is quite estrogenic. Yes. And it does accumulate. Yes. So we don't use it. You're welcome to use it, though. As I tell people, if you don't believe what I'm saying, you're always welcome to go and prove me wrong. And I always encourage you, if you want to go and prove me wrong, take extra. This is tongue in cheek, right? Do I want you to do this? No. But if you want to try to prove me wrong and you're dead set on proving me wrong, go do it. Take a ton of it. Prove me wrong. Come back later so I can fix you. Zinc can be bad on high dose, but I mean, boron is, you know how you can use boron to kill ants? You put boric acid in something sweet and you just let the ants come and like jelly. I did this in my apartment in medical school. I got some boric acid, the liquid boric acid at Walgreens, and I mixed it with like some grape jelly in a plate. And I had to keep adding more and more jelly because the ants could taste the boric acid and they wouldn't eat it. So I had to add more and more jelly to cover up the taste of the poison that the ants wouldn't eat. So enough of the ants. I made a little bridge. It was so cute. I had a little plate and I had a little bridge so that the ants could climb up to the poisoned boron jelly, and they would eat it and they would take it back and they would feed it to the queen. And eventually the queen died. And then all of a sudden, all the ants disappear. It's amazing. It works so well. So you very quickly accumulate boron toxicity in the queen. She becomes infertile or dies herself. And then you have no more ant problem. It was amazing. It works so well. You just got to make sure that the boron is not, that they can't taste the boron through the jelly. But yeah, boron accumulates. And boron is toxic. So can zinc be toxic in high doses? Yeah, anything can be toxic. I mean, that's where we get into anything can be toxic. You can drink yourself with water to death. How does it kill you? Because it makes hyponatremia, low blood salt, because you've diluted your blood too much and your salt concentration is such that your heart and your brain don't run properly. You can kill yourself with anything, but boron accumulates and causes problems long-term. So we don't use it. Apparently, it's really hard to analyze on hair testing too. Like you got to pay extra for hair test places to analyze it. And I never saw, when I did boron in practice and I gave people boron, I never saw any noticeable results to keep it around. So that's why. Let's see. Kelsey had one more link about mercury and nicotinic acid. Let's go check this out. Wait, was that it? Did I get the wrong one? Hold on. Joe, I think that's just the one. Yeah, we got that. We got the niacin and the methyl mercury. Anyway, okay. I don't see it. Yeah, that's the same paper, Joe. That's the same paper. So, let me make sure. So we got John's question. Oh, Tao, about cooking meat. If you're still around, yeah, you could boil it, you could steam it, you could put it in a pressure cooker. Any of those are basically going to be around 212 degrees. And so you're not going too high. So you're not going to be creating as much histamine. But if you feel better on eating, really undercooked meat or even raw meat that you're sourcing really well and you're taking good care with it, there's nothing wrong with eating raw meat if you have good stuff. Right? How many of you, it's crazy how people will be like, I'm never going to eat raw beef, and they'll go eat sushi. Like, if there's anything you should be worried about, it's eating raw fish. But people will go do it and they'll just be like, I like sushi. And then, no, I would never touch raw beef. It's crazy. Like, don't eat ground beef raw that you don't know where it came from. Like, don't do that. That's dumb, because there might be 8 different cows in there and all sorts of who knows? Like conventional ground beef, no, don't ever touch that raw. No way. I mean, it's better not to touch conventional beef at all, but if you have to, definitely cook the heck out of conventional ground beef. Unless you want to eat like raw fecal matter. I mean, okay, so Tao added, I was drinking 60 raw eggs for a while last year. I thought eggs were good back then. Let me bring up my eggs thread. Oh yeah, that. Let me go find my eggs thread. Since the egg cells in the Facebook group still hover around here. Let me share that. There it is. Okay. So this is my eggs thread. This is where I go over the research from multiple countries on how it is the egg yolks specifically that are the majority of the problem. Egg whites have a lot of sulfur, but the bigger problem, it's like that wine with the sulfite. So sulfur slows down your ALDH detox, but then if you put in alcohol, which turns into an aldehyde, and so you're increasing the toxin that needs the detox thing that you're slowing down. Well, eggs, if you have the sulfur, which is the egg white, and the vitamin A, which is the egg yolk, turns into an aldehyde, retinaldehyde, then you're slowing down the detox enzyme that you need to get rid of the vitamin A. And then you're also eating a lot of choline, which is exactly how you store vitamin A in your liver. It's not great. But so 60 raw eggs for a while last year. I'm assuming, Tao, that's either 60 raw eggs a week or 60 raw. God, I hope it's not a day. My goodness. But there was some guy on Twitter today. He was like, I disregarded the bro science and I was drinking 30 raw eggs a day and drinking like a gallon of milk. And I forget the time length. He's like, I heard that if you eat 30 raw eggs a day, it's like taking steroids. And I'm going, okay. So he was, I don't know if he was doing raw eggs, but like 30 eggs a day and some huge amount of milk. And he gained like 50 pounds in some amount of time. That's going to be a broken person. So yeah, so okay, so we have Tao was so raw eggs, so we had lots of sulfur from the egg whites slowing down ALDH. We talked about ALDH in Asians too. And then we had lots of vitamin A. And then now we have what looks like an aldehyde problem. So anyway, yeah, there's that thread, the Twitter thread, the eggs thread. This is, I mean, this is like seriously like more than 2 eggs a week in multiple countries was connected with an increased risk of death and other diseases, cancer, heart disease, all this stuff. And notice, I'm not saying anything about cholesterol. I'm not saying anything about it. Somebody on Twitter the other day, this is hearsay, but they said that Saladino has said in one of his videos that his doctor says he has the highest cholesterol he's ever seen. And I don't know if Saladino's proud of that. I'm going to tell you, it's going to end really badly. Cholesterol is an indicator of how toxic your liver is. You could either have a really toxic liver pumping out a ton of cholesterol, or if you have really low cholesterol, it could be because like Grant has really low cholesterol, but he's very not vitamin A toxic. People who are not well, who tend to be undertypes and underweight, who have very low cholesterol, that's not a healthy state either. So we always have to distinguish. There can be things that look similar on labs, like low cholesterol, whereas one person, as we call it, earned it in a good way, and then the other people are just really sick and their liver's not pumping out the toxins and it's just holding onto them and storing it. So let me find this. Yeah, here's the for anybody who's still around. We still got like 70 people in here. I'm putting the link to the World Health Organization link. Let me open it up. Thank you, Joe, for getting this, or whoever helped Joe to get this. This was the World Health Organization document on vitamin A, where I got the erythema. Let me see if I can find it. Why is my Control F not finding anything? This is weird. So anyway, this is where the erythema and the pruritus and the desquamation was showing up. Here it is. Skin changes, erythema, pruritus, desquamation. Peeling of the skin around the mouth may be observed from 1 to several days after ingestion and may spread to the rest of the body. Oh, sorry, I didn't zoom. I'll zoom in on that. So this is the World Health Organization. Like, again, not our we're not the biggest fans of them, but they love vitamin A. So if they're saying bad things could happen, yeah. Hepatosplenomegaly, big liver, big spleen. So yeah, they took this page down. So if you want this is the original page, probably the one I linked. But you have to find it on the archive, the web archive, web.archive.org page to find it, which the link is in the live chat. Okay. Whoo boy. So hope you all enjoyed that. So yes, we can help ourselves with the right dose of sunlight or UV light. You could also aggravate things, so pay attention. Niacin is good. Vitamin A is bad. If you need more information, just watch the live streams. All the information's below. I think below in the information, we're going to be over time putting the affiliate information that we have for some of these people. I endorse very few products, if you haven't noticed. Kelsey's Etsy store is one thing that I highly endorse, her products. The other is the Sperti lamp links will be down there. To both the sun lamp and the vitamin D lamp, there will be the links to the EMF stuff for Sarah Viao. And there's one more. What's the other one? Oh, Rome Zah's breathwork stuff. His nervous system reset. I don't remember the exact name of it, but those are things that I do really like. And then I link to each of the live streams where I connect those to DETOX, and so you can get more information on how this all works and why it all makes sense in the literature. So that's what I got. So let me find where this is. Here we are. Okay. So you all have a great week. I'll see you all next week. Bye now.